Evening at the office. A man is stunned by a fishing invite as a worried salaryman asks if it's tomorrow. Wait, let's check that someone is surprised. Zero gear and zero experience. They tell him to buy his own equipment this Sunday. Meet 24-year-old Sanada Shiro. A rude guy in a tie demands Senator repeat himself, but Senator just asks about overtime pay again. Our MC exits the tackle shop fully loaded, venting about his gross, thankless job and its trash salary. He sighs, needing a job where he's actually valued, and hits the sack early. He freezes, confused, as smoke billows ahead. Behind him, crumbling walls are swallowed by haze. Ahead, he sees the shattered castle walls and wide-open gates. Shocked by the castle, he frantically asks where he is and what's happening. Sonata's suffocating, realizing this isn't death by overwork or some trashy manga isekai. He's in denial. He woke up, met his boss and coworkers, then sighed and looked ahead. They head out to fish and hook a flounder that claims to be the magic of creation. Before he can react, a black hole opens in the sea and swallows him whole. He drops to his knees, realizing he wasn't reincarnated. He was just teleported to another world. He pauses, then presses forward, scanning the ruined walls for answers. Smirking, he guesses he's just in Germany, but freezes when something flashes right before his eyes. A spear sits wedged in the wall, and armored soldiers surround him. The mob pins Sonata to the wall. Hands up, he's held at spear point. A knight levels his sword, declaring martial law and demanding to know if Sonata's a royal army invader. Stunned, he asks again, royal army or invader. He's got no clue what's happening. Confused, Sonata begs for mercy, claiming he's just a regular salaryman as night looms over him. The armored man grins wickedly. You're too valuable to kill yet. He high-fives a knight, shouting, got him. The helmet lifts, revealing a woman. She smiles, telling Senator to relax. It's a joke, as long as he satisfies them. She grabs his hand and forces him to follow, leaving him in total shock. Fear once blinded him, but now he understands this strange, foreign tongue perfectly. He finally realizes every knight is a girl, and they're all demanding a reward. He spots an escape. They ask the captain to proceed with an empty cell, but he's pinned and held tight. Sonata struggles to break free, but the girl glares. He winces in pain, staring at her in bewilderment. She sighs, asking if he tried to run. Telling him to relax, she crushes his hand until he screams. She promises safety if he obeys, but her insane strength makes him wonder if she's even a woman. Trapped in a cell, the hero looks up to find a girl in a shirt barking orders. Two girls watch. One claims she's next, but the other hurls insults, insisting it's actually her turn. The girls corner Senator, gushing over his floral scent until he realizes they just want his shampoo. The captain grins, focused on his mission, as she demands he stop stalling. Questioned later, he recalls the pungent stench of kendo gear. Her armor looks identical, but why the weird smell? He pukes all over her. She snaps, and the girls realize he just trashed the captain. They beg him to stop, but she boots him in the stomach, forcing him to arrive. MC gasps on the floor, shaking. A girl stops the captain from breaking him early, wanting to do it the good way. She grabs his face, furious he'd humiliate a woman, and vows to beat him until he cries for mercy. The girls surround the naked, bound guy, rating his face a 7 but his body elite. He says whatever he wants, just like that time he commented on a girl during high school swim class. Now in her shoes, he mentally apologizes to Yashida, finally realizing the weight of his words, while the girls keep ogling his body. She tells him not to worry, they'll use magic until she's satisfied. He wonders about returning home and asks if she said magic, but she just aims a glowing circle right at him. She grabs his head, telling him to join the fun. Instantly, magic surges through his body. Dragged here by a flounder, the MC realizes he's powerless. Magic or not, he's just a spectator with zero choice. A crowd storms the cell, and a scowling man demands to know what the girls are doing. They caught him wandering the courtyard for routine questioning. She snaps, demands patrol updates, and insults the guards before ordering them back to their posts. He's stunned when she tells him to dress. Relieved he's not being tortured, she calls someone in. Princess Christie slips in silently. MC's stunned she's royalty, but then he spots the handcuffs. He wonders why a VIP is behind bars, stunned by her insane uniform. She's stunning and sophisticated, hair shimmering like light. He's certain she's a different breed, oozing pure rich girl vibes. The hero is stunned as the girl snaps, fuming that they dare lock a royal in this dump. She knows she's evil and completely unpredictable. Arresting Regalta's warrior princess is an insult. They're taking every precaution instead. The princess shouts the eastern garrison is still holding. This isn't the end. Asked if she survived the capital's fall, she fumes over General Houston's betrayal, leaving the hero stunned to learn she's a warrior princess. She has 3 days until her execution. She needs his help and comfort, but he's in shock. He's not being released. She sighs, admitting things went south, while the MC waits expectantly. MC senses her trouble, spooking her. He asks what's wrong, then follows up with a question that shocks the princess. She tells him to drop the formalities. She's a captive princess, and her status doesn't matter anymore. MC asks where they are. The girl reveals they're in prison and calls them stupid. MC looms in silence until she drops an awkward apology. They're in Regalta, the royal capital. She asks if he was brought here from another world. He thinks a flounder sent him here, but the truth is he's from another world. Shocked, Sonata reveals he's 24 and works for a black company, forced on this fishing trip by his trash boss. He boards a fishing boat, battles seasickness, and hooks a fish that. She suddenly hugs him, leaving the stunned MC demanding answers. She tells Sonata to stop. The guy's delirious and clearly went through hell. She's shocked he's only 17 and younger than her. In a world of magic, MC wonders if this is real, thinking she'd actually believe him. The princess demands he and his family look respectable, shattering his psyche as she holds him close until he calms down. Resting in her arms, he realizes the hothead he expected is actually incredibly kind. He's conflicted about being bobbied, but her asking if he's embarrassed is pure cuteness. The sweet-faced girl tells him to relax, promising she won't hurt him. MC lies down. The guy doesn't mind, expecting an interrogation. The princess asks what happened, but Sonata shakes off his nerves. This isn't the time to worry. He needs intel, not lust, telling her he's keeping his cool. MC asks where the men are since he hasn't seen any. She admits they're all hiding. They hide from imperial kidnappers, and he's shocked to find 0 male soldiers, just like her. She says men can't be soldiers, but he's completely clueless. He listens closely. Both their nation and the enemy Lurgut Empire draft women as soldiers. Men lack magic and physical strength. In this world, they're the weaker sex. Stunned, he realizes a weakling like him is too terrified to survive this world. The captain snaps, cancels the interrogation, and returns to patrol. Her squad thinks she's pathetic, but the second girl is into it. Meet 24-year-old Sanada Shuru, a corporate slave forced by his boss to spend his day off fishing in the middle of the ocean. He sighs at the stupidity, but the flounder begs for help. Sanada's stunned it can talk. He lands the first catch, and the fish offers to grant him a wish. Staring at his hands, he dreams of mastering every skill. It's almost a joke. The fish reveals its creation magic, exactly what Sanada Shiro's after. Shocked, he asks how she knows his name and his secret magic class. A black hole opens in the ocean, swallowing the MC as he falls overboard and screams his way into another world. He recalls the princess's words, men lack magic and are physically inferior, the weaker sex. He's stunned to find this world is ruled by women. He repeats that a flounder gave him magic and he's a man. She asks where he's from but warns him, no other world talk. Sonata says he's from Japan but she's never heard of it. Where is that? She apologizes for the difficulty and lets him talk about his country. Sonata realizes he's fallen behind and gives her a logical answer. He tells her this island is a high-tech economic powerhouse with 126 million people. The princess scoffs, asking about the island again. Hearing its population is triple the empire's, she bursts out laughing at the ridiculous story. She thinks he's playing dumb to cheer her up. He corrects her, and she apologizes. 3 days until her execution, and she's happy to spend them with him. He gets it. The princess tells Sainta he'll live, but as forced labor, either a noble's trophy or a pioneer on the border. Sonata asks the princess to use magic to escape, but even a top 5 mage is powerless in these cuffs. Magic blocking cuffs, even physical enhancement, is locked. He's powerless now. If they break the cuffs, can they actually outrun the hunters? Hard to say. The princess begs for forgiveness, blaming her failure to stop the empire for his current misery. He waves it off, blaming only his captors and that fish. He remembers the fish's creation magic. If he uses it, he can help, but how? The girl says youth start with deep self-analysis. It's common knowledge, and he realizes he needs to look inward too. He asks the flounder how to use magic, shouting, "Status open," like a typical manga hero. Sonata speaks, and a table pops up listing his skills and levels. She flinches at his shout. While he's stunned, the panel actually appeared. Stunned, he wonders if this is creation magic. The flounder didn't lie. Shocked by the search function, he tries crafting a panacea, but it's locked, so he notes the production time instead. MC's stunned. It's been 247 years. He'll be dead before he even creates it. The princess nervously asks Sharo how he feels. He happily points the princess to the board, but it phases right through her. Confused, she asks what she's supposed to see. Nada wonders if she sees the panel and tells her he's got magic too. She gives him that same pitiful look again, and he's over it. The princess hugs him tight again, just as he expected. She tells him to quit the nonsense. She gets wanting to escape reality, but Sonata needs to snap out of it. He knows if this keeps up, the princess will go silent. She calls him by name. Noticing his discomfort, the princess calmly asks if he's finally relaxed. She tells him to rest and lies down. He agrees and she closes her eyes. She's out cold. He waves goodbye, resumes his act, and uses the chance to crack open the panel. Light shines through the bars. He stares at the panel, processing the text. It's all he can do. Water production unlocked. He pulls oxygen and hydrogen from the air to create fresh drinking water in just 30 minutes per liter. Aiming to slash production time, he thrusts his hands forward to manifest his inner eye. It feels like a pulse or a breath, but different. Is this magic? Eyes shut, he keeps his hands held tight. Zero spells, zero training. He triggers creation magic on pure instinct, and energy surges around him. He checks the panel again. The water production time is dropping, and it won't stop. Princess asleep, the clock starts now, just 21 minutes left. Magic's on autopilot now. The panel shrinks, and he's officially sidelined. He stands up, hit by the stench of his puke. He spots a bucket in the corner. He realizes it's off limits, meant only for nature's call. He's grossed out by the mess he made, but they need to move fast or risk catching a deadly infection. Scanning the panel for vaccines, he realizes he can craft penicillin. It lasts 47 hours, should he just take it. MC eyes the locked drug panel, wondering how to unlock it. 16 minutes left. Water's ready, so he crafts a rag or mop, making a rag. 6 hours without materials, it's too slow. He needs a shortcut. Senada eyes the sleeping princess and makes his move. 8 minutes until the water's ready. He drops his pants, questioning what he's even doing here. The boat's in chaos after his sudden disappearance. Sonata worries it's a marine accident, but since it's a day off, insurance won't pay out. Clutching his underwear, he wonders if his parents worry he'll never make it home. Disgusted, he realizes he has to wipe up the puke with his own underwear. Princess wakes up, sees him naked, and asks if he's crying, catching him off guard. He stammers an excuse as she raises her cuffed hands. She hugs him from behind, calling him cute and flustering Senada. She asks if he comforted her while she faced death, and he realizes that's her take. The princess says it's unnecessary, but the MC thinks he gets it. He tells her it's no trouble. He just pities her, leaving her shocked. He played the nice guy role perfectly, but what's his real game? She just calls him charming. Shyly gives Senada the green light, sliding her hand under his shirt as he freezes in shock. He turns to the princess, stunned. He never saw this day coming. Embarrassed, the girl asks Sonata for help with her tight fit. He agrees, but a notification hits. Water production is finished. Now, he just needs to pick a spot. He fumbles the panel and decides to pour it out. A quick gesture sends water flooding the floor. Senada realizes water needs a container, then pushes magic out of his mind. Focusing on the moment, he stares at the blushing girl. She's like a totally different person. She lies beside him, says she loved it, and tells him to call her Chris. He stays silent. Closing her eyes, she hugs her and says she regrets nothing. He stands and stares. She's talking like a lover, and now he's totally hooked. 3 days until her execution. He watches her sleep, unable to believe it. He knows if they can just ditch those cuffs, they've got this. Day 2 in prison, the girl tells the MC to move. Confused, he stands up. She squares up, kicks the bed leg, and snaps off a piece to examine it. She's stunned she can pull this off with her powers sealed. What's her move? She claims their night together kept her from giving up, and now he's asking if it's true. Dead serious, she holds up a bed shard and threatens to slit her wrists. Stunned, he listens as she explains. Free her hands and she can use magic. She can't heal him, but she'll use fire to cauterize the wound and... First strike shatters his bones, then he rips away the skin and flesh. Shaking, he begs her to wait, swearing he'll break the cuffs. He checks the panel. 2 hours of production left. 2 hours left. He tearfully offers his magic, leaving her stunned that a man can even use it. He grabs her shoulder, begging for another hour and 57 minutes. She's convinced he's finally gone bad. Chris agrees. They're escaping tonight, but she'll wait for him to fall asleep first. She gives Sonata 2 hours to prep her plan, and he's on board. She says 2 hours are up, but he insists on 27 more minutes. She asks how he knows the time without bells. He points to his watch, leaving her completely bewildered. She slams the wood down, screaming at him to stop stalling and hold the sharp edge steady. MC refuses to quit, begging Chris for more time. He's clueless how to stall for 27 minutes, but she screams it's the only way. He demands another night, but she snaps back. Now is definitely not the time. Trembling, he tells Chris he's too scared to act, so she steps up to give him courage. The princess vows to give him courage, and Sonata knows his plan worked. She slams him onto the floor since the bed's broken. He blushes, complaining the stone is freezing when she asks if he minds. Chris offers to warm him up, and the MC feels the heat. He stops her, it's ending too fast. Checking the timer, he's got 22 minutes left to hold on. The panel pings, he collapses, gasping. Lucky break, the timer saved him just in time. Good job. She asks if he's finished, and he nods. Chris says it's time, but he cuts her off, holding out his palms for the reveal. Metal slams into his palms. Stunned, she asks if it appeared from thin air, and Senata notes her shock. He's been at it since yesterday, using creation magic and toolmaking to carve grooves into the steel. He vanishes a metal rod, revealing he forged it to break her cuffs. She's stunned by his creation magic. She turns serious, realizing he's actually a woman. He denies it, but she literally just checked for herself. Rustling fills the cell as MC slices the girl's cuffs. He tells her to pull, and with one final strain, she snaps them apart. Shocked by her glowing hand, she realizes the magic block is weakening and calls Sonata a good boy. She surges magic into her hand, shattering the cuffs and aiming a blast to the side. Energy slams the door, a cough rings out and the guard drops. The guy asks if he's napping. She says sleep fog knocked him out for 6 hours. She tells him to move, he steps aside, and she readies her foot. She steps on the bed, snapping it in half and shocking the MC. She crushes wood, her strength is back, time to move out. Magic surges through her hand as she leaps up, stunning the MC. Chris leaps to the window, shattering the bars with a single strike. He's stunned. Chris asks if he's shocked. Few have this much mana. The girl laughs. She vaults out the window and yanks him through with one hand, leaving him stunned by her strength. MC spreads his arms, finally free, and Chris follows suit. Sonata tails her, peeking right at a guard. No time for regrets, was following her a mistake. That chapel's surrounded by guards, but a secret tunnel leads out. She'll handle them while he waits. She blitzes the enemies, wiping them out. Sonata wishes he'd stayed in prison. He remembers the night girl's cruelty and knows it could have been worse. Chris calmly opens the doors. Harry chases her inside, stopping right in front of a statue on a pedestal. They drop through a secret floor hatch, and he's stunned when it slams shut. Chris reveals this passage starts at Monson Park's bronze statue and leads straight to Philippa's fishing harbor. The names leave him dazed until Chris explains the plan: buy a boat and sail east. Now he gets it. Seeing Sonata's scale, he realizes he's headed back to the sea, just like his world's end. Chris warns the girl the sand is already scorching. Sonata struggles awake, complaining about the heat as their wooden boat sails. She stands tall at the bow with total confidence. He remembers it all. The currents swept him away. After escaping the castle through a tunnel, he finds water everywhere and grows to hate the sea. Spotted at the harbor, Chris shreds the Imperial soldiers, standing over the bodies like a demon. They jack a fisherman's boat at 3 a.m. and sail off, leaving a silent apology behind. Wind catches the sail as the MC asks if she can steer. He's never seen a sailboat before. She smiles and asks how to steer as they drift away. He assumed she knew her stuff when she suggested stealing the boat. He's dead wrong. A notification pings from the panel. The system signals the water's ready. MC points to the chamber pot, and the water pours in. Sonata realizes seawater takes 5 minutes to purify, so thirst isn't an issue. Salt costs just 2 megapixels, but the XP gain is tiny. Making the file and pot gave his tool category its biggest level up yet. He weighs baking bread again, 6 megapixels and 50 minutes, way faster than real life. MP recharges at 1 per minute. Using only salt and water, he finally cracks the code. He's hitting a new level soon, doing whatever it takes to get ahead. He brings the water and she smiles, calling him the guardian angel who kept them alive. Sonata imagines being a guardian angel and asks what kind he is. She just calls him cute. Her words are like nicotine and he's getting hooked. He's starting to feel cute until Chris screams his name. MC's stunned as the girl shouts that the island is finally in sight. He demands to know where they are. With nothing in sight, she grabs the oars and rows like a maniac. Sonata's stunned by her speed. He He spots something ahead. It's a real island. The boat docks at a shore of palms, dense forests, and looming mountains. MC and Chris chill on the sand, both agreeing it's a total tropical paradise. The girl leaps, shocking Sonata, while Chris reaches the food in the palm tree. She lands with fruit, reminding him that food is survival, magic or not. Sonata realizes her physical power is still insane. Holding 2 fruits, he says it's fine and leads her into the shade. Chris orders a scout. Find locals for info, but if it's empty, expect nasty monsters. He's shocked by the monster talk, but it's another world. What did he expect? A noise from behind draws his eyes to a strange substance. He's shocked it's a slime, but she asks if he's never seen one before. He admits he's only seen it in gacha. She presses for more, and he confirms they were just pictures of slimes. Sonata asks if they're dangerous. The girl warns, get close and it'll hiss, spraying digestive acid. Wash it off fast or your skin will burn. Slimes are harmless trash eaters. No point killing him, Sonata agrees. He thought the shore circled the island, but the forest blocks the path. She tells him to jump, and he asks if it's really her. She leaps high with him on her back, scaring him as she tells him to grip tight. He asks to walk on the ground, but she insists this way is faster. He tries to object, but freezes in fear and warns his partner to be careful. MC smacks his head and falls. Chris asks what happened and if he said anything. He pulls her close, catching her off guard. She calls him a naughty boy, warning him it's too early to relax. He screams, pulls his hands back, and apologizes as she gives a small smile. They're on the move. MC says they've cleared the forest, but a dense thicket blocks the path. Chris charges both hands with magic, warning Sonata to stay back. She slashes and strikes with her hands. He wonders, is it a wind slash? It's happening again. At the cliff, she leaps over the wall with him on her back, not even using her hands. MC thinks her magic is a total cheat. They spent half a day dodging monsters, and now he swipes a stick over the object. This 25 km deserted island features a 200-meter peak, lush greens, and 0 monsters, except for slimes. She's starving, so he points to a drawing on paper. She's shocked, it's actually bread. She asks if he used magic for this too. Pretty cool. He agrees, warning it's his first time, but he's just playing the hardworking nice guy again. Shocked, she finds his love for Chris, reaction cute, and plans a mountain hike after lunch. Sonata's down. Trekking the mountain, the girl finds a cave. It's the perfect base, close to the river for easy water. He finds nothing but rocks, no cave in sight. Charging her hand with energy, she declares they'll do it themselves and slams the mountain. She pulverizes the mountain with rapid strikes. Stunned, he heads to the beach for supplies while she shouts her agreement. He hauls fruit, stunned by her terrifying magic. It felt like a stone fist. She grins at Sonata, calling him fast. She's finished too. MC steps inside and freezes at the perfectly crafted furniture. The girl asks for his verdict, certain the place is enough. It's more than enough, over 50 square meters, and she's already carved stone furniture in record time. She blushes, and he realizes Chris is flustered by his words. She sits, he asks for the plan, and she confirms. It's exactly what they discussed on the boat. She bets they're southeast, sail east to hit land and reach Bavanda Castle's garrison, if her hunch is right. Bavan's forces hammered the Imperial army into a retreat, and while everyone's on high alert, the standoff continues. She promises safety behind the walls, fertile fields, and a decade of food where nothing can touch them. If Chris says it, he knows they're safe. Now they need to grab leaves for their bed. He stands at the cave entrance, watching her confident stride. Chris gathers palm fronds while scanning the river for prey. Smirking, she reveals fruit alone won't keep their energy up. Grinning, he hunts for plants to craft into fruit bags. MC finds a vine and spends 8 hours crafting a shoulder bag for harvesting. Baking the bread nets him 6 XP. 1 harvest bag later and he's finally leveling up. He's hyped. Sonata knows his potential is growing. Staring at the sky, he obsesses over the endgame. MC returns to find Chris already in bed. Seeing only one spot, he realizes she planned this from the start, and he's totally into it. She's proud of her real bed, a massive upgrade from her prison cell. He tries to talk, but she shuts him down instantly. She failed the hunt, apologizing for getting their hopes up for dinner. She warns that leaving the island means war. Stay sharp. Tomorrow is the day. He calls her name again. He tells her to leave him behind, leaving Chris stunned. Realization hits. She demands Sonata explain what he means. He's dead weight and will only hold her back. Even the powerful Chris got captured. If she has to protect him, she's finished. Better magic means boats and weapons, but she can't wait around. He vows to handle the crafting, urging her to head east and focus on her kingdom without looking back. Trembling, she calls his name and lunges for a hug. She clings to him, sobbing an apology as he calmly pulls her close. Night falls on the exhausted MC. By his side, the girl praises his surprising bravery. He credits her guidance for his massive skill jump these past few months. She's never seen a guy take charge and asks if it's too much. Suddenly, a notification pings. Chris asks what's up and Senator reveals his new collection bag. Suddenly, a notification pings. He finally leveled up. Great news, but he's still blind. His MP's up, letting him craft things he couldn't before, but still no new skills. The girl asks how he's feeling. 6 loaves just became 9, and she's hyped for a real breakfast. She tells him not to rush, joking he'll recover faster in bed as they share a laugh. Night falls, MC and Chris hole up in a cave, turning in early to prep for the long day ahead. He snips the branch and tosses it into his full basket. That's plenty. They have no idea how far they are from land. He's sure she has a week of food, but at 2 liters a day, she'll need 4 jugs of water. He mastered a fruit-picking trick that usually requires a knife. Bare hands are brutal, but he lacks the MP to craft a blade. A split stone knife works for now, but he needs a polished upgrade. Suddenly, the girl turns to him. She hauls a massive beast, claiming her magic arrow killed it, but she can't butcher it. He's shocked by its size, wondering if it's a giant boar. Chris mocks her failed blood draining, calling her a useless princess who can't do anything right. Sonata knows fish, but this massive boar is too much to skin. The girl offers to handle it her way, heading to the stream and raising her hand over the carcass. She strikes with a magic-charged hand, slicing the boar in half. Shocked, the MC tells her to skin and gut it. She carves the boar into a mountain of meat, but they're out of salt, so they'll smoke it too. Smoke billows from the building as Chris watches in silence. He gets Chris to chop a fallen tree into a cool box, then has her use fire magic. He says he's fine, but he'll struggle without her. Next morning, the MC helps her load supplies onto the boat. They arrive, she sighs, asking Senator if he's okay after last night, but he insists he's fine. Chris admits her first time on bottom was actually amazing. He tells her to stop. It's an unusual reaction, and he even calls Chris by name. MC smiles and wishes her luck. She tells him to stay safe, then admits she'd gladly take him hostage. He waves, unsure about being a hostage, as the boat sails away. The boat drifts past the horizon and vanishes as he watches. He needs a fire stone, cauldron, fishing rod, and supplies. His to-do list is stacked, but he's ready to grind levels and he knows he's got this. The girl collapses on the shore as the shocked MC asks Chris if she's finally back. He asks about a shipwreck, but she denies it. She just wanted to see him. She crushed the empire and restored the kingdom in a single day, leaving Sonata stunned by her speed. She gave her kingdom away, offering to build a new one on this island, just for them. Chris pushes starfish soup on a starving Sonata. She asks for his order, but he touches her and realizes she's way too wet. He touches the mucus, and it makes a gross, squelching sound. He stares in shock as the slime blasts him right in the face, making him scream. Soaked in liquid, he wonders if he fell asleep, convinced it was just a dream. He looks up, Chris is gone. He's stranded alone on this massive island. A noise echoes from the forest. Terrified, Chris grips the sword he looted from a harbor soldier, huddled by his campfire. Staring into the dark woods, he's terrified. He relied on Chris too much, so he's prepping flint in case the fire dies. He eyes the entrance, wishing he'd built a proper door. Remembering the massive boar Chris killed, he knows he's dead meat if a beast like that attacks. Flint spends 8 hours building, but he's too scared to enter the dark forest for wood. The sword is too heavy to swing, but holding it calms him. He asks, will every night be like this? Another noise from the forest, and suddenly he's got an idea. Morning hits and a notification wakes him. It's already noon. He was too terrified to sleep until sunrise. He starts prepping tonight. With his spear finished, he'll finally sleep easy. Sonata admires the masterpiece. If the sword's too heavy, they'll just turn it into a spear. The sword's missing its tip, and this amateur can't handle it anyway. A light spear fits better, so Sonata starts training with his new weapon. He uses it as a cane, but entering the forest, one problem remains. He touches a tree, testing its quality. It's the perfect material, so he activates his magic. He's shocked it vanished, but it suddenly drops from above. An hour later, he vows to think before turning trees into materials. A notification pings, she's ready. He marks the doorway as her spawn point. Plywood replaces the door, a total fake. Our hero stands tall before it. He opens it, thinking it's fine, but he should have used the other side. Spear in hand, he stalks the shore. snacking on a banana while scanning the sea for resources and answers. He looks up and realizes he hasn't eaten in ages. He checks the panels and finds rice. Unlike bread, it takes 2 full hours to cook. Kombu seaweed washes ashore, and he decides to taste it, only one way to find out. He risks it using magic to brew dashi for a feast of onigiri and kombu, finally, real Japanese cuisine. He's already missing me like he's been starving his entire life. 5 days later, Japan feels worlds away, and Senada is still stuck on the island. He laughs, claiming he's almost finished his long-awaited goal. 3 days after Chris left, it's finally happening. Creation magic hits level 3, and he's stoked with the power-up. MP boosted and golem production unlocked. He starts the 48-hour craft immediately. No longer alone, he welcomes his new faithful assistant. A stone golem confronts Senada, just another mass-produced model. Smoke vents from the golem. He waits as it turns with a heavy stomp. He thought he'd look way more complicated. He glances over and they stand side by side, staring off the cliff at the sea. Looking better than his Moe statue, he grins with glowing green eyes and 500 kilo strength. He needs a name. Owa sounds cursed, so he weighs Ivascha and Stanisha. Realizing the golem's a man, he names him Iwao and asks if it sounds normal. Senada points to his cave and tells him to follow. They're touring the whole island. The golem stomps, but the guy thinks he's silent. He's just glad someone's finally listening. They reach the Crescent Coast, the exact spot they separated from Chris. 1 week in and he finally gets it. This is definitely not Japan. Research done, he knows the score. He questions the golem, but it just wanders off, leaving him stunned. Golem points to the forest. The guy asks, head straight in or take another path. He learns the south side is unreachable. They need a boat, but they're fresh out. He points to the sea. Senada realizes he's a newborn, curious about everything. Suddenly, he spots a ship on the horizon heading straight for them. Coincidence? No way. They're nearing the island, and that mystery ship is closing in fast. Senada spots a ship on the horizon. It's heading straight for them. Hoping they're friendly, the hero sends Iwao back to guard the cave. He stays to guard the ship, pushing his slow friend Iwao to get moving. From the bushes, he spots a boat dropping. They're making a landing. The hero realizes the crew are all women, dressed as fishermen instead of soldiers. Senada's horrified. They might be pirates. The pirate's dead serious. She eyes the shore with a smirk, clearly plotting something. The captain orders the boat secured, the river scouted, and the rest to follow her. The mate calls their uncharted island a lucky find, and the captain agrees it's the perfect hideout. Senada's stunned. They're actually pirates hunting for a new hideout. Hero panics. His neighbors are criminals. Captain orders a scout mission. He panics. If they eat his fruit, he can't go fishing. His cave is compromised, so he tells Iwao to ambush the mountain before the pirates sail off. He heads out but runs right into a female pirate. Both freeze, stunned by the sudden encounter. The pirates are stunned to find a man on an island they thought was empty. Pirates swarm the hero. Hero warns them to stay back or the stone golem goes wild, and the pirates respect his guts. Calling him a rare find, she orders her team to swarm the golem. The captain lands a massive blow, blasting a pirate aside, knocked out cold. The captain glares at his crew while her assistant stays calm. She screams at her subordinates. The captain apologizes, promising no harm. They're just grabbing water and meat before heading out. The captain seems nice, but he's not buying it. His black company pass taught him better. He offers stream water and wild game. The captain thanks him, again promising not to hurt him. Iwao the stone golem stands relieved at the cave entrance, safe for now. The pirates regroup. One groans in pain while the other checks if she's okay. A pirate snaps, calling the captain hysterical for losing her temper over their break. They hype her strength but wonder why she's playing pirate. Rumor says she's ex-Navy. One grins he wasn't half bad, while the other laughs she'd have snapped his neck. The hero senses the gossip. They say the captain thinks he's superior just because of his pretty face. A pirate doubts her friend is serious and demands to know her source. Laughing, his friend hopes he survived, suggesting the captain only likes weaklings. Janice appears, scolding them for calling themselves weaklings. The pirates recoil in horror at Janice and Babel, panicking that they were only joking. Janice calls them idiots, asking what happens if the captain hears. She gets their relief after ditching the fleet, but the captain was way out of line. The pirates nod instantly, confirming every word. Janice thinks the captain's too rigid and launches her own secret plan. Hero orders Iwao to use rock throw. The golem heaves the stone, but the hero sees it's too slow for long-range attacks. He's a tank and needs a shield, but crafting it takes 18 hours and massive mana. Santa delays the shield for now to avoid running into more trouble. He keeps it simple, crafting 4 wooden torches. He lights a torch, stunned as it flares up with massive power. He sends you to stop the intruders, finding the primitive lighting surprisingly effective. A notification pops, toolmaking hits level 3. Magic level's nearly 4, normally he'd be stoked. He hides in his cave, waiting for the pirates to finally leave. A loud bang echoes outside. He looks out the window and spots an explosion on the shore. Sonata panics, fearing pirates with bombs or cannons are about to cause major trouble. He's done playing the clown and buffs his armor to survive. Hero spots a man noticing someone outside the cave. The boy shouts, "Who's there?" The pirate captain's fast asleep. A pirate bursts in, screaming they're in big trouble. Captain asks what happened. Janice looks grave, apologizes, and says something terrible went down. Strange spots appear on a pirate's hand. The captain recoils, terrified it's a disease. 4 sick bodies lie on the shore. The captain panics. If the island is the source, they're doomed. They scream they can't leave, but he snaps at Janice to shut up, stay, and they all die. Cecilia converts a cabin into a sealed medbay, telling the suffering patient to hang on. She turns her back and orders the patient to hop on. She's carrying her to the boat. The sick pirate whispers a guilty apology to her captain. A pirate girl strikes the captain. She plunges a dagger into the captain's back. Cecilia whips around in horror, demanding to know what the traitor is doing. An invisible strike slams her aside, forcing a scream. She realizes only a wind slash can bypass her magic defense. Janice appears with a smirk, calling her name. She sneers that Cecilia's officially unfit to be captain. Janice laughs, confirming the captain was right. She's dying here. One line out, do not use any line breaks or newlines in your response. Final selection. Furious, the captain snaps. Do they really think they can? She ignites a fireball. The traitor screams in horror. It's her signature move. Cecilia unleashes her max blast flame, triggering a blinding explosion. Sand erupts, traitors choke, blinded, the captain's gone. Janice screams for them to stop. In this chaos, they'll only hit each other. Smoke clears, and an annoyed pirate realizes their captain's gone. Janice says she's dying from the beating anyway, so don't bother fighting. She orders them back to the ship to report Cecilia and her dogs caught a mystery illness. Janice smirks, declares herself captain, and drops her first order. Her first order: kill her allies. A stone golem peers from the cave, torch in hand. The hero yells, "Who's there?" as a wounded pirate girl stumbles from the brush. Sonata barks a command, demanding her business. The girl barely lifts her head. Cecilia knows she's being bold, but like a true pirate, she begs for help mid-fall. Mid-sentence, she drops unconscious. Gallum spots her blood. The hero knows it's no trap. Doubts cast aside, the hero roars that none of this matters. He recruits Iwao and hauls the wounded girl back to his cave. On the cave bed, the girl writhes in agony, fists clenched tight. Hero sees her hip and back wounds are severe. She confesses, her own men betrayed her. He panics, needing a fix. Bandages take 35 minutes and he can't craft medicine yet. Out of medicine, she dumps all her mana into strength, but it's no match for real healing. She claims her strength and luck will save her. Sonata sees her brutal wounds, but she refuses to quit. The hero vows to help as Cecilia apologizes for the mess. Shiro, Sonata, and the golem Iwao arrive. First priority, stop that thigh bleed. Shiro tells her to stay still so he can cut her clothes to check the wound, but Golem already has the shredded pants ready. The hero's horrified, the massive wound barely bleeds. Cecilia's physical buffs are the only reason she hasn't bled out. She needs her thigh bandaged now. He finishes the bandages and admits he's hit his limit. Senata doubts the makeshift bandage and fears she's passed out. He'll have to recheck the wound later. He builds another stone pillar. One guards the house, the other gathers food. Defense doubled and creation magic hit level 4. He's stoked, even if it's just more MP. He eyes the sleeping Cecilia, wondering if it's finally time for her to wake up. No thanks, Cecilia, fine. Sick of seeing that broken man, he grabs his triple blade razor and shaves. He notices she's awake. She catches him peeping, and he panics, claiming her anger might reopen her wound. Cecilia blushes, diving into her blanket as Sonata quietly asks if she's okay. Cecilia covers her mouth, totally embarrassed. She shrieks in shame, hiding her face and begging for forgiveness. She apologizes for peeping and tells him to stay back, but he's totally clueless. Flustered, she admits she didn't know he cared about body hair. Covered in shaving foam, the hero repeats her weird words, totally baffled. He realizes she meant shaving, comparing it to spying on a girl. He rushes to finish shaving, but Cecilia screams again, unable to look. She yells for him to respect a lady, but he thinks she's cute for a pirate. Senada hands her a glass, calling it mango juice. She drinks up as he explains she's starving and needs the nutrients. Cecilia loves the taste as power surges through her. He grins the second Yuhao picked that mango. He asks if it hurts. She says it stings when she raises her hand. He tries to feed her. She's embarrassed, but he shuts her down. The wounded don't get a say. Cecilia repeats his name, calling it beautiful. The hero's stunned. He never thought his masculine name actually fit. He claims she's flirting. She denies it, but Senada loves her reaction. Embarrassing her is way too easy. Totally flustered, she babbles nonsense. Senada finds her asleep, blaming the juice and his jokes. He figures she needs the rest first. She can't handle solids, so he preps porridge and a chamber vase. He jokes he's a nanny now and checks his boosted stats. The numbers are soaring, and level 5 is next, unlocking medicine categories. One more EWW levels up Senada's golem skill, unlocking a brand new type. Galem's on hold. Cecilia's hungry, so he's going fishing. 6 days since Cecilia woke up in the cave. Hero offers a bandage swap, but Cecilia's already healed and the pain is gone. He spots a tiny scar where the wound was. She insists it's nothing. She happily shows him she can move, flexing her strength. Smiling sincerely, she thanks him for the help and vows to pay him back. He sheepishly waves off her thanks, satisfied she just promised not to rob him. She grins, mocking his empty pockets. Her rule is to never mess with the poor. Cecilia offers to take him anywhere and split the hidden cash. Senada planned to stay and grind his creation magic, never once thinking of leaving the island. Embarrassed, he asks her to marry him. Cecilia calls him a fool. It's a family book entry, not a physical place. Bright red, she asks if he's for real. He laughs at her reaction, so she threatens to stab him despite being broke. They're building a boat, so he demands she teach him how to sail. She agrees, give her the knife, and she'll build a boat in one day to call it even. Senada doubts she's ready, but the girl says her magic makes it easy. The pirates are gone. She figures they forgot her and ditched the island. Hero agrees she's right, but suggests checking the beach just in case. To stay alive, he knows he has to be paranoid. He grins, fishing under 2 golem guards like a total VIP. Cecilia shouts she found a boat log, catching him off guard. She effortlessly shoulders a massive log. Senada panics as her wound reopens, but reassures him and enchants the log. She torches the log and slices it up, calling it enough. Senada realizes she burned it for an easier cut. Makes sense. She builds a boat in a day, so he preps dinner and logs the recipe. He lands a massive fish, but his creation level is too low to cook it. It's a cod-like whitefish Chris calls anima. Senada's recipe: flour the fillet, then fry with garlic and olive oil. Add onions and water, simmer, then finish with tomatoes and seasoning. Name soup's ready. He calls her darling over dinner, and she panics, screaming they aren't married yet. Senada asks if it's good. She hums through a mouthful and keeps eating. He offers himself for dessert, leaving Cecilia flustered again. She turns beet red, speechless and totally lost. He'd never seen an excitement nosebleed actually drop someone. He sees everyone here as different, dubbing her innocent Cecilia. Hero's creation magic hits level 5, unlocking medicine production. Low levels stall his drug production, but the bread's finally looking up. Next day, Cecilia smiles. He's mastered the basics and is ready to move on. She excitedly shouts they're going to see it. Hero's stunned she built the boat in a day. Cecilia spots calm waters and heads around the island. He stares at the island in awe, seeing it clearly for the first time. Cecilia asks the island's name, but he's clueless. He just crashed here. She suggests Senada Island, but he panics and rejects it as inappropriate. Remembering his friend, he names the island Monte Chris. Cecilia asks who Chris is. He says she's gone to handle business. She gets him. Senada just hopes she's okay. They hit the southern rocks. Cecilia warns him to stay back until he masters the oar. Cecilia spots a secret dock. With calmer water, they could hide a boat here. Senada asks what's wrong. She thinks she saw a ladder deep in the cave. He thinks it's man-made. She checks, warning she's about to pump. They swim inside as the water stills. Cecilia ignites her hand, lighting the way forward. They spot an old staircase, and the girl decides they're going in. Cecilia sees no monsters, but they have to stay sharp. Sonata grabs her in fear, begging for support. She smirks, calls him skittish, and they press on. They hit the summit. Cheryl scans the area, guessing they're south of the cave. South leads here, but he's never been this deep before. He heads into the forest, hunting for fruit trees. She agrees, but warns them to stay sharp and follow her lead. He spots something past the forest and stops dead in shock. The hero stares at the massive structure, stunned and confused. A massive ancient entrance looms ahead. Shiro mistakes the building for a South American ruin, but he quickly realizes he's dead wrong. Cecilia stares at the structure, laughing wildly. She screams in delight, a dungeon. She never expected to find an untouched one here. She says dungeons are packed with monsters, traps, and most importantly, massive treasure. He asks how she knew it was a dungeon. Prying the gate open, she says the leaking magic gave it away. He panics, begging her to stay, but the captain scoffs. She'd never go alone. Dead serious, she insists she's got one thing to do first. Shiro senses her thirst for revenge. Cecilia agrees they'll pay for stealing her ship. Revenge won't bring her peace, but if she needs it to move on, he's all in. The hero says they need a ship to escape, and she agrees. He'll make the sails to return her to the sea. Stunned, she asks him to repeat it. He knows she can build the ship, but she can't craft the sails for a long voyage. He's fine with her seeing his magic. She's a kind pirate and won't betray him. Smiling, she asks if she can return to the island after her revenge. He's in. Cecilia celebrates with mango juice. She's recruiting a team to dive in ASAP for that massive reward. Dying isn't the question. She says a woman risks her life for treasure. He calls it disrespectful, but she won't tolerate creeps. Shiro thanks her, but if she's his type, he's down for her to try. He likes beauties, but he's down for a chill woman in her 30s. Cecilia smiles, asking to stay again. She's got zero decency. He agrees, offering to build a hotel for her company. She's hyped for the hotel, calling the plan a total win. She promises a fat reward and looks forward to her return. The hero decides to open an inn for island visitors. Cecilia's annoyed it took 4 whole days to build the boat. He's shocked she's mad. 4 days is fast, but can the boat survive the waves? She reassures him it's just an inland sea with no strong winds this season. She never expected to meet a mage and asks how he'll make the canvas. He conjures a massive canvas with magic, stunning her with its high-quality, durable fabric. Cecilia shrieks his name, panicked. The massive sail shocks her. She's out cold. Shiro panics, lifting her and screaming her name in apology. She sees the water barrels he built and realizes she can never repay him. Shiro's done making basic pots for Chris. His magic is finally evolving. Download complete, she reports. Dinner's ready. He invites her to sit down for some boar and turnip soup. They eat soup by the fire. She's sad she can't eat his food anymore, so Shiro vows to expand his menu for her return. Cecilia vows to wait, and he's in. Worried he teased her too much, he decides to see her off with total seriousness today. He kisses her cheek, leaving her stunned. Stunned and stuttering, she screams his name, demanding to know what he's doing. He grins, lying it's just an Izu safe travel spell. Cecilia blushes, calling it sweet. He's always full of surprises. She grins and shouts that she'll definitely be back. He shouts back, vowing to build a place that heals body and soul. Cecilia screams she'll surprise him and return fast. He roars back his obedience. He watches the seagulls, silently asking them to protect her journey. Hiro gazes skyward, missing Cecilia and Chris while praying for their safety. Checking his stats, creation magic hits level 6 with 309 megapixels. Lonely since Cecilia left, Shiro builds a new golem to liven things up. One step at a time, he hits the streets to start his grind. Rain pours as his golems prep the farm. He's not working in this weather. He watches his golems work in the rain. They look lonely. Shiro realizes golems feel nothing. He's the lonely one. The stream's mud. He drinks rainwater while planning a reservoir. Sonata smiles in the doorway, listening as the rain turns into music. Zero fun on this island, so he hunts for a way to kill time. A plan hits him. He'll use golems. At high levels, he'll craft mobile golems in any shape, even clones of Cecilia and Chris. Shiro thinks this hobby will kill his loneliness. He's hyped. 3 days later, he finishes Iwao number 3, and his confidence soars. His golem level jumped, unlocking humanoid stone golems. He's hyped, he builds the golem instantly, welcoming their newest family member. A new humanoid gallium grinds the fields to help others. Shiro's farm days fly by, even though his golems do all the work. He finally summons a new special column. He stares in awe at the tiny gallium, stunned by its monkey-like agility and grace. The golem looks like a stone monkey, so he names it Goku. Goku's flexible fingers let him master the fine work Yuo never could. 2 weeks since his creation, Goku finishes the sign for Monte Island Shiro's hotel. He eyes his work with pride, declaring they're finally ready for Cecilia's return. He eyes the hotel, praying it finally looks real. Now he's waiting for Cecilia too, knowing Chris is never coming back. Shiro gives the golems a break, but one won't budge. Checking the manual, he sees the golems out of mana. It needs fuel just like a machine. Hiro touches the flashing circle, and the gallium surges with renewed power. 50 megapixels gone, now he's gotta keep the supply coming. He needs MP, but potions are for humans. Golems require magic stones. Shiro's horrified. He can't craft magic stones and has no clue how to get them. In a game, he'd farm monsters for loot, but here, slimes just clean water and eat trash. They grow from his waste and share his life. He feels a strange bond. Elapse remembers them swimming alongside him and realizes they've finally grown used to him. She banned slime hunting, so those magic stones are on hold. He recalls his farming skills, knowing exactly how to trap birds and goats. He spots strange birds overhead. They aren't the usual kind. Horror strikes, those aren't birds. They're pterodactyls diving straight out of the sky. Shiro spots people flying, stunned that flight actually exists in this world. The youth puts Iwao on high alert, bolsters defenses, and scouts for a landing spot. Hiding in the brush, he preps for the meeting, fearing they've found his cave and praying they're decent. The rider shushes her pterodactyl to keep it quiet. She warns Louise to stay alert. They have no idea what's lurking in the forest. The captain warns his crew. The wyver is lethal during unloading. Stay sharp. No enemies in sight. She heads for the field they spotted earlier, betting that's where the survivors are. Shiro notes their wild captain is a total contrast to the kind pirate. Watching from the bushes, the hero realizes these three aren't bad people. He shyly approaches, catching the strangers off guard. A pterodactyl panics and flies up, dropping the hero to the ground. The girls apologize for the intrusion, identifying as a Lurgo Empire survey team. Hero's shocked the Lurgoa Empire is Chris Sima's enemy. Meet Captain Lissa Milano. He's down to talk. He introduces himself as Shiro and says he lives here alone. The team's stunned he lives solo on this isolated island. He claims he crashed here as a kid, hiding his prison break with Chris. His new gear stuns them, so he lies about passing pirates and merchants. One sympathizes with his struggle, since a man on board is a bad omen. Captain asks about a tax inspector, leaving him completely stunned. Alyssa claims the island for her empire, making him her subject. Now he owes taxes. Another girl reassures him, nobody's spending money on this road because it's not profitable. She says the law decides, but he's still not paying taxes, even if they come for him. The girls are exhausted and starving, so Shiro happily invites them in. He happily shouts their guests. Stunned by the golems, Shiro reveals they're his and leads the group inside. The girls spot the Hotel Syro sign, stunned to find a hotel on Monte Cristo Island. He welcomes them as his first guests, but Lena slaps him, teasingly asking if she's his first woman. The captain mocks her for being thirsty, and Alyssa warns her to stop ogling her son. Shiro's floored. In this world, fathers raise the kids, and her husband is looking after their son. They sip citrus tea. Leona asks for food, and he's buying. The captain offers water and jerky, but agrees to a swap if the food is better. He knows they're about to be shocked. He stands proud in his kitchen. Today, it finally serves its purpose. First clients, the hero's hyped and ready to give them a warm welcome. Prepping for guests, the hero serves leftover bread and fresh-caught fish with a side of soup. He grins, wondering if women become sorceresses at 30, then corrects himself. They're already magical. He thanks his guest and serves dinner, garlic butter whitefish and creamy potato fish soup. The guests love the food, especially the bread. The captain thanks him as her crew devours the feast. One bite in, dead silence. Panicking, the hero asks what's wrong, terrified they hate it. The guests erupt in unison. The food is delicious. Liana's thrilled. This is the best bread she's ever tasted. He remembers Chris saying the same thing. This bread rivals a royal palace feast. Scarfing the bread, the girls demand his recipe and ask if he owns a wheat field. He reveals sailors sold him the wheat, and the hyped guests shout for more. Eyes sparkling, Liana calls him Shurachin and proposes. She's dead serious, but he brushes her off, claiming she hits on every guy she meets. She shyly admits it, but this time is different. Shiro's flattered but prefers sincere types like Louis, leaving the girl blushing. A teammate calls the blushing girl a hostess. Confused by the hostess label, he's shocked they're actually talking to him. The girls spot ruins south of the tavern and ask what they are. They head into the ruins, telling Shura-chan to wait until evening. He can't hide this place anymore. He apologizes to Cecilia, they know everything. He eyes the 100 lemon copper, stamped with Melissa Ii's profile. 500 lemon a plate, Shiro's first foreign payday. They're staying the night, so he's making sure the entertainment is top tier. He scraps the 3 Ewiled golem shields. He's got bigger priorities. Shiro's out 168 megapixels, but his next move is top priority. He yells orders to Iwawa and Goku and calls a general assembly. 1 and 2 clear the zone while Goku and 3 build a stone stove to heat water. He demands they don't fail and show him unprecedented landscapes. The recon team returns, shouting they're back. They found the dungeon entrance. He greets them with a smile. A massive stone bath appears, tended by his golems. Stunned, the girls ask if this stone bath was always here. Senato grins and confirms, but secretly, he made it for tired customers. Liana shouts through the light, who cares, a bath is a bath. Soaking in the tub, she never imagined she'd find a bath like this. It's been 3 months since Alyssa last visited the imperial capital's bathhouse. The youngest loves the water's sweet scent. Cairo reveals they added petals and herbs. He realizes Louise hides her curves under her clothes and asks how the water is. The captain says it's hot but perfect, feeling her exhaustion melt away, pure bliss. Lena grins, asking Shirachan for a back rub. Embarrassed, he bails to go cook and dodge the awkwardness. Her messages were pure bait. Without the others, he'd have folded. He's gotta stay sharp. He sighs in relief. Everything's perfect, and his eyes are officially blessed. The kid keeps a stone-cold face. He regains his cool. Time to make dinner. The hero lies alone, eyes wide, unable to sleep. Dinner's over and everyone's asleep, but lying there, he's finally coming clean. Shiro admits he's waiting for an intruder, awkwardly trying to stay calm. He hesitates, admitting he wouldn't refuse 3 girls at once. He watches her sleep, thinking she looks adorable. Morning hits and nobody showed. He figures they're all way too serious. He heads to the stream to wash up and spots one of the girls already bathing. Milano greets him. He responds, and she notes the perfect flying weather. He asks if they're heading back. She nods. The dungeon report is top priority. She heads home early, working mom life is tough, and he knows she's dying to see her son. Alyssa must remind her son she exists, or he'll forget her face. She reveals 100 researchers are joining the study, leaving him stunned. Shiro panics about the 4-person limit, but she confirms the soldiers are staying at camp. He can only cook yesterday's menu, but Alyssa knows it'll satisfy even the toughest officers. She claims she's a knight. He's hyped, thinking dragon riders are another world's elite. Hero figures Lena and Louise are elites too. Alyssa says it's too hard for him to talk. Clueless, he asks in shock what it is. Hero whips up a feast for his guests: eggs, bread, mushrooms, and sausages. Guests are floored by the magnificent breakfast. Long road ahead, so they gotta eat up. Shiro's just glad they enjoyed it. Guests demand seconds, and he smiles, realizing he worried for nothing. Captain asks for the hotel bill. A night and 2 meals costs 4,000 to 6,000 lemons. Panicking and broke, the hero begs the captain for cash until he spots the magic stones. These magic crystals are the capital's currency and power source. Size dictates the price: 1,500 for D-rank and 100 for mono. Relieved, Shiro accepts the magic stones as payment. Touching the stones instantly unlocks medicine and magic device production. He knows stones are the key to starting new industries. Liana screams it's unfair, demanding to pay with magic stones too. He's hyped to see magic stones for the first time. Liana shyly offers her hand, and he takes it. She whispers his name, eyes filled with love. Shiro hands the captain a bag as a souvenir. She's furious just for the captain. He says it's for her whole family, plus island mangoes and bananas. The pterodactyl snacks on mangoes and bananas, keeping his rider happy. He left a rare seashell as a gift for her son. The girl gratefully accepts the gift, calling it a perfect souvenir. 11 words versus 15. one more pass. She accepts the gift with thanks. He smiles and waves goodbye, saying that's it. He told Goku and Iwao their free time was officially over. He created a second Goku to handle the massive workload and work in parallel. Short on golem manpower for the research team, Shiro builds more. He'll keep spamming golems, but he needs to find food before magic is banned. Fishing was a bust, so he hunts a goat instead. Magic milk works, but today he needs the real thing. Next day, Shiro asks Iwao to help clear a path to the southern ruins, but Goku orders them to pick fruit. Shiro's certain the team will appreciate a shortcut to the dungeon that bypasses the cave. He hoped the team would worship him for his supposed generosity. Before leaving, the captain warned him to be extra careful. She promised the girl soldiers would fight for his favor, and Liana felt the same. Knowing he's good-looking, he soaks up the attention and moves to charm his new travel companions. If the Empire attacks, he won't run, he's taking them head-on. Alyssa calls out Cyro's heavy workload and Lena's bathroom spying, but Cyro retorts she's just as stressed. Fearing the girls would go wild, the captain kept his golems close and walled off the bathroom. He's starting to like the attention, so he adds a peephole. That's just thoughtful design. He liked 40 out of 100 girls and craved everyone's love, totally forgetting he just narrowly escaped death. Golem's top two were dead set on finishing their mission perfectly. Shiro plants the roots, and they instantly sprout into lush green feathers. He marks the spot for the women's toilet and orders the boys to start digging. The golems move with machine-like precision, finishing the job flawlessly in record time. The crew beamed with pride, relieved to have nailed the mission perfectly and on schedule. Shiro checks the board. His third Goku pushed his production skill to level 3. Hyped, he starts the next task. He rides out, ditching the daily grind for fresh air and total freedom. He could finally create horses, and welcoming silver made everything a breeze. Toilets, roads, bathhouses, and cabins. He built it all solo, even crafting custom spices to level up his cooking. They've been prepping for the group's arrival for 10 days straight since Captain Milano and his crew left the island. Stressing over the research team's arrival, he suddenly spots a wyvern in the sky. Shiro spots a lone wyvern, wondering who's at the reins, Captain Milano or Louise. He hides, hoping for Louise, but the rider is a total stranger. She lands and pulls off her helmet. Liana greets him with a tight hug, confessing he's the only thing on her mind lately. She delivers an imperial message and a surprise, grinning with pure joy. She jokes if he hates the gift, use it as a rag. Shiro's stunned. She wants him to wear this. It's paper-thin and completely see-through. The assistant waves a paper frantically, while the guy kicks back on a lounge, soaking up the piece. 2 weeks since Lena delivered that letter, and the research ship is still nowhere in sight. He handed the day watch to his assistant, Miracle, certain he'd handle it perfectly. His creation skill just hit level 9 mastery. He now crafts metal hounds, special golems built for speed and agility. Goku carefully milks the goat, filling his container. Goku and Chudas team up to catch a goat named Yuki, securing a fresh milk supply for cooking and drinking. Shiro enjoyed iced milk coffee anytime, and even mastered making ice. A massive family grew, bound by shared goals and mutual support. Golem's fleet now packs 5 EWOWs, 2 Silver Series, 2 Miracles, and 6 Goku mods. Shiro's peak afternoon, lounging in the shade with a cold, sweet condensed milk coffee. He remembered research captain Lotta Graham, a 20-year-old noble who likely used family ties to rank up. He hoped she'd be kind, not a strict tyrant. A dog barks new prey he'd ordered them not to hunt. Hearing noise from the beach, he realizes the ship is finally here and bolts toward the shore on horseback with his dog. He stared into the distance as a ship slowly emerged from the morning fog, heading for shore. Kairo's hyped the guests are here. With a crowd of beauties arriving, his future wife might be among them, and his dream life is finally within reach. He rushes to the bathroom to fix his look, knowing first impressions are everything. Wearing his magic suit, he saves Lena's gift for later and boards the carriage back. Packed boats drop from the massive ship. Cleaning up, he sees the guests hit the shore and instantly recognizes their armor. Shiro knew instantly. The armor and weapons marked them as imperial soldiers from a great power. Fear strikes as prison nightmares flood back. The brutal torture flashes before him, his heart races, and his mind freezes as his tormentors' faces haunt him once more. He tells Silver he's just nauseous, but he's clearly shaken and needs Chris to calm him down. Shiro recalled Leon's story. Chris took command at the Citadel, and the Empire was in serious trouble. He hated hosting these new Imperial soldiers. They weren't the ones who fought the princess, leaving him a total mess of conflicting emotions. A soldier creeps onto the wooden pier, the boards creaking as the tension builds. Her tall, athletic frame screamed authority. He pegged her as a veteran officer, or Laudigrame herself. He welcomes all guests to Monte Cristo. Local Shiro Sanada introduces himself, knowing she's actually 20 despite looking 30. She thanks him for the warm welcome. Behind her stood another stunner, her gentle grace demanding everyone's attention. She saw a petite girl, about 150 cm tall, suddenly behind him, and he admitted calling her a bun was wrong, though her figure was round and tempting. She looked like a curvy civilian escort, not a soldier. Recognizing Shiro, the tall woman confirmed she'd received Milladana's report. Meet Research Captain Lot Graham Sama. She's a kid, but she demands your respect. He froze as the ground vanished. Shock surged, his heart raced, and his eyes went wide. His world just flipped upside down. Captain's aide Diana Lane introduces herself, asking for the exhausted commander to rest at a local inn. Realizing his mistake, he beamed with genuine warmth, happy to finally meet her in person. One look and she's bright red. Graham felt the same and turned away. The captain wasn't the arrogant jerk she expected. He was actually humble, keeping a low profile and avoiding the spotlight. The carriage glides toward the hotel, swaying on soft springs in pure comfort. En route, Diana reports Gallum sightings, but a local boys' camp spot makes the mission look easy, and the girl agrees. Shiro was awkward. Maybe her high status made her hate this remote island, but she was sweet, so he let it slide. They arrive, and seeing the heat, he tells the soldiers to wash off the sweat and cool down. The girls are baffled by the cooling trick. Turns out, the Lurgoa Empire doesn't use wet towels. The captain tries one and loves the chill. Diana loved the feeling. Graham felt the sweat vanish, but Shiro just saw Suzuki from General Affairs wiping down with a towel. He offers the girls iced coffee and syrups, telling them not to be shy. The captain doesn't hesitate and takes a massive gulp. He offers a refill, and she surprises him by praising the drink. Since she's usually silent, he realizes good food is her secret weakness. He paced her meals to avoid overfeeding. Diana questioned the ice and towels, so he claimed sailors left them in his cellar. The cellar had ice stored in double barrels, and the adjutant offered to conjure more with magic if they ran low. Shiro thanks the officer and secures future help. He likes the guy, and things are finally looking up. The grind paid off. Magic creation hit level 10, unlocking endless new possibilities. Shiro crafts a wooden bird galleon for scouting and messaging. Naming it Cuckoo, he starts building his new aerial spy. Weapons production lets him recreate his old world's arsenal: guns, chemicals, nukes, and bioweapons. Repair lets you recreate anything, from broken plates and luxury watches to turning scrap metal back into a car. These skills burn mana fast, so Shiro can't fix everything. He wants a quiet life, but he's forced to budget every drop of power. The soldier is thrilled to find a total hunk in the middle of nowhere. She can't believe this perfect guy lives on such a tiny, remote island. Diana orders her men to leave Shiro alone, calling him a vital ally. They better take it seriously. No one approaches him unless he agrees. Love is fine, but mess with work and you're punished. She asked if Latte was cool with the terms, and the captain confirmed. Superiors approved, so the first girl loved the captain's order, but the second warned her not to act entitled. Watching them, Graham realized she was a total outsider to their talk of love. Lost in thought, she stared out the window at the infinite, lonely sky. The captain realized men weren't the problem. No one asks her to dance at balls because she's short, and her brain completely shuts down whenever a man is near. The girl suggests writing, but Yahoo prefers music and talk with the gentle guy. The captain watches it all over coffee. She realized this was standard popular girl talk, and she was totally clueless. Graham finally opens up about his true passion, building model sailboats. She pictured a majestic ship heroically slicing through the ocean, a sight of pure, instant inspiration. She thinks building model ships is a refined hobby, but strangely, guys haven't caught on. She expected a loveless marriage, but feared dying alone even more. Suddenly, panicked voices snapped her back, demanding a plan. Diana explained the squad was bunking at the hospital and asked Lotta to join, ensuring the commander approved the location. The captain picks a house over a cramped ship or risky tents. It's the only way to truly rest and recover. She blanked on his name, insisting she wasn't shy or a man-hater, while Graham promised better things were coming. Snapping upright, she shouts that she's staying. No hesitation, she's finally choosing her own path. Back at the house, massive preparations for elite guests are underway. Shiro moves the captain, Lane, and 6 assistants into a private, fully loaded luxury mansion. Dinner's at 6 p.m. sharp. First, Goku Golem inspects the rooms to ensure the beds are comfy. Iwawa's golems prep the bath while Shiro leads the miracle group to forage for herbs and flowers. Scanning the crowd, he sees a wild mix. Some stare like he's a zoo exhibit, others stay polite, and the rest are rowdy animals with zero respect. She hated the sight, but he let it slide, respecting their freedom. Everyone is behaving, and the few weirdos aren't causing trouble. Suddenly, a young man announces the bath is ready. He panics over the captain's safety, so Diana tells him to go see the truth for himself. No response, he opened the door and crept inside. Lotta Grams is out cold, buried in a massive bed of white sheets. Exhausted from the journey, the captain was out cold, her stern face finally softening into a peaceful, childlike expression. A faint sound jolts her awake. She snaps her head up, eyes wide and scanning for the source. Feeling guilty, he apologized for barging in, claiming he knocked first, then offered to lead her to the ready bath. Shiro spots a wooden ship model by the bed and freezes. Panic hits her face. Her secret passion is about to be exposed. He turned to Latte Gram, watching her shock melt into calm. He then praised the model as the ultimate symbol of seafaring romance and history. No reaction. She assumes it's a secret, so he apologizes for getting carried away by his first time seeing it. She asks if he's interested. The boy confirmed he'd never boarded a ship since men were banned. The captain agreed, calling the rule a disgrace. He believed it, but ships make him seasick. Storms are terrifying, yet he loves watching them, and Graham feels the same. He claims models are the ultimate choice, romance at home and perfect room decor. Captain agrees, but Cheryl worries he's oversharing. The girl looks bored and probably thinks he's a total idiot. Apologizing for his obsession, he offered to walk her to the bathroom. Graham agreed, no hard feelings, and they headed out. The rumors were true, and the bath was the perfect way to relax after a wild day. The soldiers howl at his sticking out leg, leaving the man baffled and embarrassed by their wild reaction. Diana's face flushed as she gasped for words like a fish out of water, completely blindsided by the sudden twist. She warned against provoking the staff, but now they're scanning her from head to toe, leaving her totally rattled. He knew she was one of a kind, a rare beauty whose natural charm and elegance outshone every other girl. The crowd drools, but showing calves is a major taboo here, so he apologizes and quickly covers up. The girls warn they're the only women and could face serious trouble. Flustered, the guy apologizes for his bare leg. Soldiers cringed as their captain hid underwater. Graham shook with excitement, heart pounding and breath hitching, as her eyes widened in pure uncertainty. The agent spots Lode's panic just as he blacks out. Shiro realized he messed up by rolling his pants and sticking out his tongue. He had to get her out and cool her down fast. The girls told the owner to back off since she was soaked. The boy bolts to change, leaving a soldier thinking he's slow. Diana's sure it wasn't intentional. Nobody could be that shameless on purpose. She figures his naivety comes from island life and checks the captain. The girl's fine, just a bit shaken. Graham stares at the man's pale, hairy legs and sticks his tongue out at her. She barely finished speaking before collapsing back into a dead faint, terrifying everyone nearby. The soldiers argued heatedly at the table, gesturing wildly over a major topic. Prep starts tomorrow. The captain agrees, ordering a full sweep and fortified defenses. Shiro served grilled goat skewers for the meeting. It's an empire staple, even eaten raw as sashimi. He heard the meat was elite but lacked the guts to carve it. Clad in a sheet while his pants dried, Yahoo confirmed the dungeon size. Prep would be fast. He knew the soldiers would shield the entrance first, then slowly open the path. The captain asks for a timeline. With 50 earth and 46 water mages, the ditch will take 2 days. She locks in the deadline and asks for questions. Shiro sees the magic build emote to stop the dungeon horde, realizing the chill grandma is a stone-cold pro, and her short stack build is a total win. After their awkward bathroom encounter, he hopes they're closer and offers her another coffee. Graham orders another cup with a shy smile, but the MC feels an invisible wall keeping them apart despite being so close. Gramsama thanks him for the stay with a massive haul, 10 kg flour, 1 kg butter, 5 kg corn, 20 eggs, and 6 chickens. To repay her, he skips the cake and crafts something cooler inspired by her ship models to impress her. Commander wakes as her adjutant preps, tying her hair. Soldiers pack the hall for breakfast, swapping plans and loud laughs in a warm, friendly atmosphere. Shiro notices some soldiers suit up while others don't. Same uniforms, different vibes, and Leinson is dead serious. He pictured a girl appearing before him as a surprise. The guard notices the master's eyes darting and asks what's wrong. The boy slaps his face, claiming he's just glad the island is finally alive, he thinks she's cute as a hamster and offers her seeds, but the commander shuts him down. He asked Graham for permission to watch them build the dungeon moat today. Shocked, she asks why he needs it. He claims curiosity, but she's still skeptical. Cheryl eyed him like a freak, wondering if men here lacked basic instincts. Even Graham called him a weirdo. As they depart, he prays for their safe return, sending silent support to each one. The kid yells he'll visit after cleaning. The captain smiles and agrees, setting a bright mood for the morning. Time to work, he barks orders. 1 cleans breakfast, 2 and 3 handle beds, 4 and 5 scrub the bathroom, and 6 gets toilet duty. He preps pudding for dessert, and the captain's gift is set. It's easy for a crowd but tricky to heat. Add vanilla, rum, or liqueur to maximize the flavor. He wonders if magic can conjure vanilla. Craving ice cream, he orders the officers to make ice and hides in the bathroom until the pudding is ready. Soaking in magical lavender oil, he wonders why morning baths feel so incredible. He felt more feminine since arriving, likely a side effect of the teleportation. Shiro instinctively plays the world's ideal man. He orders his subordinate to cool and deliver the pudding to keep its shape, then heads to their workplace. Back in Japan, he'd just be working. He was curious at first, but now he finally feels complete in this world. Shiro couldn't explain why, but he felt a deep harmony, finally accepting this strange world as his true home. As the soldiers march to duty, the captain is lost in thought about him. Result, he looked plain, but he was stunning. Is a guy like this even real? Wait, homely can also mean comfortable, cozy in UK. Shiro cooks and cleans, but he's no modest homebody, and he's definitely not a pushy businessman. He's into model ships, so Graham thinks he's the perfect guy to get her talking. Status blocked marriage, so she'd lock him in her basement as a lover, building ship models and eating his food forever. Her adjutant saw the captain's itch to fight, but she was completely clueless. Graham rarely smiles, but Diana's glad to be so motivated. The captain locks in, only to realize she left the island map at the hotel. Graham baited to grab something, leaving the adjutant in command. Diana sent an escort to fetch her. The commander refused. Her room held secret documents. She packed documents and romance novels, insisting she'd handle the solo trip and be right back. Shiro relaxed in the bath, soaking deep and lost in pleasant thoughts. Refreshed by the cold bath, he thanks Yuo and heads for Peru, the forest wind surging through him. He swayed with total ease, savoring every single movement. He ran right into Graham, stunned by the sudden encounter. She stared back, eyes wide and face frozen in pure shock. The guy apologizes, thinking everyone left, but Graham blames her for forgetting something. She apologizes and bolts, hoping the blushing girl doesn't pass out again. Captain bolts to her room, replaying the events to lock in every detail while they're fresh. Finally calm, she settled in and let the tension melt away. Graham realized the soldiers were late and aired out the room to destroy the evidence. She grabs her e-bag docks just as Shiro arrives and invites him in. He apologizes and thanks her for the meal. She brushes it off, but he admits he did it all for her. Inside lay a treasure, hyper-detailed soldier minis that brought their comrades back to life. Graham's stunned to find her own statue. Shiro planned to display them on her sailboats. She asks how he finished so fast, but he reveals her figure was a last minute. Wait, let's make it even shorter. Clay and pigments, that's his craft. He even sculpted his own figurine, but a man on. He asked if she thought it looked weird or creepy. The captain agrees and he's hyped. The figurine fits the sailboat model perfectly. Shiro apologized for the delay, noticed she was in a rush, and asked if she got what she needed. The boys galloped back on a fast horse, wind whipping through their hair. Graham knew she couldn't ride behind. Her subordinates would never let her hear the end of it. Deep down, she craved his warmth, wanting to drop her guard and lose herself in his arms for just a moment. Shiro wraps his arms around her waist and pulls her close. He pulled it off. Operation Riding was a total success. Security was prepped, but with the second mate missing and out of reach, he's forced to rely on Silver's first mate. He pulls her close, her touch filling his heart with a surge of peace, joy, and confidence. He kept his distance to respect the captain's space, while Graham secretly craved his strength and protection from the world. His sudden question caught her off guard, making her instantly wary of his true motives. He asked her to put his figure on the model ship, wondering if it was taboo. Graham considered the request. The captain stood firm, her ship, her world, her rules, and here nothing is off limits. He spotted the majestic ruins rising from the brush, a haunting ghost of the ancient past. Caked in sweat and grime, the soldiers push through exhaustion to dig deep and fortify the fortress. The boys rush in, catching the soldiers off guard. Their hearts race, sensing big news is coming. Graham barked at them to keep working. No time to waste. Every second counted to finish the job on time. Shiro realizes the trip wasn't planned. Leaping off her horse, the girl admits she just asked to tag along. Their bond was undeniable, but her constant excuses and denial were driving him insane. He watched soldiers use elemental magic to dig ditches instantly, turning backbreaking labor into a high-speed breeze. The kid asks to enter the site. The captain agrees, but warns him to stay sharp and watch the workers' every move. She triggers the magic circles, launching the ground skyward. Shiro's impressed, but she's just getting started. Now she's showing her real power. Earth floats and the boy cheers, but the second soldier hisses, warning the first to stay humble and quit showing off. She split the earth open. The boy praised her, but the others went berserk, fuming at her god-tier magic. The girls instantly clash, trading speed and power while Shiro shouts in awe. Diana credits the owner for their speed boost, and the captain agrees. Shiro realized they were just flexing for the opposite sex, just like back home. He rewarded the soldiers by prepping snacks for 100 people. He mounts his horse and promises a quick return, catching Graham off guard. He orders you to boil a pot of water, sugar, salt, and syrup, seasoned with a splash of citrus oil. Once it colors and bubbles, kill the heat and dunk the pan in cold water. Once it cools, knead it, roll a cylinder, slice it up, and you're done. Shiro shouts he's back, offering the captain salty candies for a work-time sodium boost. She loves the lemon scent, so he reveals he used citrus for flavor. Graham thanks him and hands out sweets to the soldiers, who happily accept the treats. Treats delivered, he checked for stragglers. A familiar woman spotted him and beamed with a massive smile. Shiro offers salty candy for a heat boost. The soldier takes one, but the boy notices her hands are filthy. He playfully tells her to open wide and say, "Ah," turning the snack into a game. He asks if she liked the treat. Her confident yes shocks the other girls. Promising treats for all, he pops candy into their mouths, fueling them with pure joy. Soldiers line up, waiting for their turn to be fed sweet treats straight into their mouths. Shiro thought he was finished, but there's still more, so he calls for round 2. Diana tells the owner to back off. His presence is distracting the soldiers from their duties. He asks if candy is rare in the Empire, but the adjutant says she's no rarity. Hen feeding is a rare, special ritual straight out of a novel. Shiro played the clueless islander, but he actually knew everything. Diana knew he meant well, but he realized he was only slowing things down. Shiro saves the treats for later, keeping his soldiers focused and their fighting spirit high until the job is done. He urged him to keep digging, promising a mountain of sweets to boost his energy once the ditch was finished. The girls accept the deal and dive back into the grind, united by one goal: finish the mission and get paid. Shiro hoped to make up for lost time, and the captain was all in. He offers Graham more candy, leaving her visibly flustered. Steeling herself, she reached for the gift, torn between shame and the thrill of the unknown. Shiro loved her shyness, seeing a charming new side to her character. Soldiers flood the ditch, creating a massive water barrier to shield the fort from enemies. Watching the girls enjoy sweets by the finished ditch, he felt the pure satisfaction of a job well done. Iwil's crew builds the towers while Shiro heads back to cook. The team finishes up and gets their thanks. Hyped for a feast, the captain grills the cook about tonight's menu. Graham finally speaks first. He mentions the sea bream tempura, but she's never even heard the word. He explains tempura is battered, deep-fried, and best served fresh. At the tavern, a girl whines that she wants to take him home. The crowd roared in agreement. He was hot, a master chef and a total catch. Graham fumed, glaring as they openly thirsted over him. Fearing he'd cheat since he's in high demand, one lady suggests making him a public husband for the visit, leaving the captain sweating. Diana reveals Milano rejected her subordinate's marriage proposal. Another soldier realizes they're talking about Lena, the girl every guy obsesses over. It was her she mentioned the first round. Graham suspected Shira, but she never thought he'd cheat. She wanted him home, joking that if she were a writer like Alyssa Milano, she'd just fly him back on a wyvern. She laughs at her wild imagination, ridiculous, naive fantasies that bring her pure relief. Shiro won the Empire's trust, but no one suspected his secret link to warrior Princess Regalta. He wondered about Krasama's fate, cherishing their journey and hoping for a reunion. Huddled together, the soldiers eyed the feast hungrily, ready to refuel and rest after a brutal day. Shiro serves sea bream tempura, warning everyone it's piping hot, don't get burned. The girls swoon over this flavor explosion, amping up the party with every bite. Crispy outside and soft inside, this sea bream tempura might be the best dish on earth. Shiro compares him to a tanuki-like Tokugawa while the girls sweat, devouring his food. He loves watching them inhale his cooking, even if they're just pretending it. Catch shrimp or squid, and it's tempura time, served with salt, bonito flakes, and tensuyu. Diana tells the owner they're having a major meeting after dinner. Totally clueless, he's told he's also invited to the meeting. The adjutant asks to borrow his stone golems to storm the dungeon. He asks if stone means Yuo, not Goku. She nods that iron shield outside belongs to Yuo. He asks if they're kicking you off the vanguard. Diana says they're minimizing losses despite the risk to his golems, then asks if she can trust him. Shiro doubted Yuo could be remade and hated devaluing life. He demanded the golem stones plus a personal reward. The captain agrees, handing over 10,000 lemon cash, 5,000 in magic stones, and 3 kilos of frozen beef. Stunned by the massive offer, the boy tries to refuse, but Graham insists he take the cash without argument. Shiro agrees, choosing beef over money or magic. He's already got soy sauce, sugar, eggs, and rice, plus red wine flown in by Leona. He sears a massive steak, wondering how long it's been since he's had a feast this big. He finally took the deal, 3 kilos of beef, magic crystals, and a pile of cash to stack his reserves. The golems activate, following orders to crush their tasks and finish the job fast. The army deploys 6 shielded golems, 8 elite battle mages, and 4 towers with 3 warriors each. Legions of soldiers line the trench in tight formation, ready for any threat. Diana barked orders, launching the dungeon raid as her troops mobilized for the final offensive. Soldiers strained, heaving the massive gates open. The young warriors scanned the dark tunnels, sensing a hidden threat ready to pounce. A deafening, terrifying silence is the brave warrior's only companion. Relief hits, the crushing fear vanishes, letting him finally catch his breath and reset. Deep in the cave, a cold gaze flashes. An invisible threat is closing in from the dark. Massive monsters charge, obliterating everything in their path with pure destructive rage. Suddenly, the monsters blast Golem number 2 back, ripping the massive iron shield from his hands. Shiro knew Yeshua couldn't lift 100 kg as the monsters closed in. The monsters charge like rabid wolves, screaming threats to bait the defenders into action. The commander orders the attack, and his soldiers charge head-on with fearless, professional grit. A stream of magical destruction slammed into the enemy like an avalanche of light, shattering their defenses and turning the battle into a total war zone. Monsters turn to ash instantly, crushing the first wave and proving the army's weapons are lethal. Shiro's stunned, his unbreakable iron shields are actually taking damage. Diana urged the owner to activate the golems, deploy them around the field, and follow the plan. Shuddering, the boy grips the captain's hand, leaving the adjutant watching in pure shock and alarm. He apologized as his legs buckled, knees trembling from the sheer strain of the fight. She shyly asks if he's okay, but her voice is trembling too. He needed something solid to stay balanced. 2 girls grabbed his arms, propping him up to help him recover his strength and focus. Shiro's courage doubles. He orders Iwao back to the front, firing up the army and leading by example. Soldiers report all clear and move to defend the interior. Diana gets the owner to let the golems follow them inside. Shiro's shocked he's tagging along, but the agent explains only he can give the orders. Graham took his hand, whispering he was safe. His calm presence restored his trust and mental balance. The army pushed deep into the dungeon, clearing lower levels and scouring every corner. Giant lizards burst from the doors, but the army's precision strikes wiped them out in seconds, clearing the path. Shiro screams as monsters ambush the team, turning the mission into a brutal war for survival. Ram warns they've only faced weaklings so far. The boys stunned. The captain warns that monsters get stronger the deeper they go. Diana orders the golems down the stairs, using their massive frames to lead the charge and shield the weak. Graham calmly told the kid to relax, assuring him his elite team had his back. Boasting elite magic, the girls promise to protect Shiro, so he sticks between them to stay safe. Graham promised protection, but the air was thin and choked with gas or that same miasma. He tells the captain he's hit his limit and collapses, so the girl rushes to call Cheryl for help. Captain orders her subordinate to heal him. Shiro thought it was just a dream, but his mind held the ultimate healer stereotype: starry eyes, a stunning figure, and a heart-melting soul. He's banking on her pity to heal his soul. Reality hits hard as she snaps him out of his dream, rudely telling him to wake up and get a grip. If she dies, the golems go rogue. He thinks she's heartless. He knew she was a hero who'd always save him. Cheryl promised it'd get easier, her heart racing. She triggers Healing Hand, maxing his regeneration and promising Shiro will be fine instantly. Graham scoffs at the physical contact, but the healer explains research proves magic works best on bare skin. The captain apologized as the boy's nausea faded, but the girl kept touching him. Stunned and feeling better, he thanks her, but Cheryl warns they aren't done. He's not fully healed, and they've just hit the critical stage. The captain thinks he's a master healer, but he knows she's just playing games. 3 minutes later, Shiro happily tells her he's feeling way better and full of energy thanks to her help. Cheryl beamed at the heartfelt thanks. Soldiers creep from the dungeon, scanning for threats. Night falls, shocking the owner. Diana credits teamwork for clearing the first floor with 0 losses, but Ciro thanks Ivano's team for doing the heavy lifting. He suddenly remembered dinner, but Graham told him not to worry. Dinner's ready and he's not saying no. He loves a free meal, but he'd still take a kitchen over a dungeon any day. The table's loaded with bread, cheese, grilled pork, and buttery potatoes and beans. While the others laugh, the owner notices the food tastes wrong. The wine is sickly sweet, likely loaded with sugar for preservation. The salty pork and potatoes hit the spot, but after a drink, the guy's sudden laughter shocks the room. He laughs, shouting that he's the only guy surrounded by all these beauties. First dungeon run and he scores 3 treasures, a gold ring, bracelet, and an ancient magic book. A soldier offers a drink, worrying the captain, but Shiro claims he's in control, using a weird asphalt idiom that leaves Graham totally confused. Diana asks the owner for help tomorrow, cutting the booze to stay sharp. He grabs her hand, swearing he'd brave fire, water, or a dungeon for her. Wild-eyed, he yells Shirasanada bursts through anything, so the girls ask, is the adjutant his favorite? He didn't get it and snapped, shouting that he wasn't like that. He swore he wasn't like that, claiming Lane's son wasn't his only interest. He really liked Graham-sama Ai. He yelled about her juicy melons, but she was clueless. When he called the captain sweet, she was thrilled. He liked Cheryl, who used healing magic as an excuse to touch him. She didn't just want contact, she craved his body. He forgave her and pulled her into a hug. She calls him an angel, reminding Chris of his promise to be her guardian. The kid bursts into tears, and Graham frantically asks what happened. Shira slams his wine and tells the captain not to stop him. He's got a special reason to keep drinking. She asks who's in his heart, who he's thinking of, and demands a secret to prove his feelings. He was lost in this world until she guided him and loved him. Graham asked where she was, but the boy sobbed. He'd never see Chris-sama again. Shira asks if he can cry, and the captain tells him it's normal, let the tears flow. Still sobbing, he collapses into the captain's arms as she strokes his hair to comfort him. Exhaling deeply, exhaustion hits. He shuts his eyes and sinks into sleep, leaving the day's chaos behind. Diana knew he'd lost a wife or lover. Graham agreed, curious about Chris-sama's true nature. The soldier found the name Basic and wondered about her. The captain hauled him to bed, unable to leave him behind, while the adjutant warned her not to pull anything while he was wasted. Graham screams she's stupid and would never be so cruel. Diana defends herself, claiming a private meeting would only fuel rumors. She wasn't the type to step up, but she spoke up anyway. The captain agreed, so she offered to help everyone carry it, except Cheryl. Graham scoops Shiro up, stunning the squad. Hearing carried together, a soldier thought they'd grab his limbs and asked if the captain was tired of hauling him. They stepped inside, it was his room. His scent filled the room, so the squad squeezed onto the single bed together. Graham orders them to move as the guy wakes up, completely dazed. They point out his bed, big day tomorrow, so he kisses the captain and turns in. Everyone froze, eyes glued to the scene in total shock. Graham stunned as Shiro bids Chris-sama goodnight. She's still processing when he passes out. Diana says it's time to go, warns against lingering, and turns to Latte-sama. Graham banned his unit from giving him booze, threatening severe punishment for violators. His adjutant agreed it was the right call. Captain orders the golems to guard Shiro's sleep. Waking up early, his head throbbed like a nightmare, each second a deafening blow causing nausea and dizziness. The boy asks Goku for water and pulls out a creation magic painkiller. Shiro's testing a unique hangover cure. He pops the pill, washes it down, and waits to see if it actually works. Relief hit as the pain vanished in seconds. This remedy was insanely effective. He washes off in the cool river. Headache's gone, but the nausea sticks. His levels are too low for meds, and he needs a shower. Shiro starts shower production, but Graham suddenly bursts from the bushes. He greets her hangover-free. She returns the greeting and heads to the river to wash up. She bolts and he realizes she's dodging him. Diana greets him and he's doing fine. It's a good sign. He's still leading the UAU squad today. She's thrilled he'd brave fire, water, and even a dungeon for her. Stunned by his words, the adjutant felt lucky, joking she'd marry him if she were 10 years younger, but he barely remembered saying it. She's still questioning his words from last night. Diana questioned the owner's amnesia, pitying his trauma, but when she claimed Chris resembled his dead wife, a chill hit his spine. Shira panicked. Did he just expose the Regalta princess and the Empire's enemy? And why does this guy think he has a dead wife? Diana offers support, but he senses their pity. Since he kept Chris's identity as the Regalta princess a secret, he asks if he just messed up while drunk. The adjutant apologizes and kisses Graham, mistaking her for his late wife. He clutches his head, drops to his knees, and slams the ground in a blind panic. He finally realized why she was ghosting him. He needs to apologize to stop the harassment, praying the other soldiers stay clueless. He was told 3 times that day, nobody cares about his fake drama. Unable to argue, he lets it slide and hopes for the best while EWOW's team pushes into the dungeon. Shiro approaches Graham with a quick, random favor. He wanted Wonder Number 1 on the team. He needed to test the miracle's power in a real fight. His own strength was obvious, and the captain agreed. One monster is easy, but a major battle forces a retreat. They can't risk the golems, so only the US squad stays to protect them. He accepted, thanked her, and told Number 1 to give it his all while Number 2 handled escort duty. The squad pushed deep into the mysterious dungeon's dark depths. Diana cleared floor 1 and pushed deeper. Shiro treated the grind like manual labor, ordering Iwawa forward into a dungeon that looked just like a city shopping mall. Monsters swarmed the rooms and halls, but small groups meant no miracles yet. Diana checks in, but Shiro is already used to the chaos. He's too scared to fight, and the adjutant agrees. Men can't use magic. The boy nods as miracle number 3 enters production. Diana takes the report and tells the owner to send a message. He sent Cuckoo the bird golem to deliver the document to the surface forces and set out. Shiro saw their long investigation. Diana prioritized safety. Lada-sama wanted 0 casualties. She looks cold, but her kindness keeps morale high. Adjutant orders the troops to hold position and stay ready. Graham orders him out. Shocked she spoke, he feels a spark in her coldness. Widower or not, he tells her to focus on work. Shiro orders EWOW to prep. Door opens, shields up, charge. He opens the door to an empty room, then spots a cockatrice lying inside. Shiro mistakes it for a colorful ostrich, but Graham says it's the only monster. Time to test it. He catches on and orders miracle number 1 forward. He watched the golem leave, his heart heavy with worry. Neither could land a hit at those speeds, but the cockatrice suddenly slows. The soldiers roar, miracles got this. The golem smashes the enemy's neck. The enemy fell instantly. Shiro celebrates the win and asks for a rating. Graham's impressed, calling the creation worth 3 soldiers. Officers can solo 5 soldiers, but he's hyped to learn miracle is even stronger than an elite. Shiro knows 2 miracles won't stop 2 officers. He trusts the captain's control, but not the shady soldiers, so he promotes his golems as insurance. His status demands 3 more to boost golem production. Adding 2 more golems to his current 3 takes 5 days, halting all other production except repairs. 10 seconds and the plate is flawless. It costs 76 MP, triple the production price, but even the wear vanished. This magic manipulates time, explaining the massive mana drain. Shiro realized creation magic fixes anything, even non-magical items. Now, he just needs a plan. Miracle was limping from battle scratches, a detail his creator likely overlooked. Shiro plays it safe, delaying the golem repairs until the team returns. He's stunned. Repairing the golem costs a massive 720 energy units. He expected a high bill, but this was insane. Plus, the walls were trashed and creaking. Graham pins the monster's feather behind her ear. She tells the owner the cockatrice meat is in the kitchen. Shiro thanks her and tells number 1 to wait. He needs 2 more golems, but with Miracle and Iwao in this state, it's gonna be tough. Back in the kitchen, a massive cockatrice carcass takes up half the room. Unsure if it's edible, he butchers the carcass. Tastes like chicken. The feathers are worth a fortune, but they've already been plucked. Cockatrice feathers are trending in the capital, so he orders the meat to the basement for a magical deep freeze. He slices the meat, marinates it in soy, sake, and ginger for 30 minutes, coats it in starch, and fries it. Dinner's served, cockatrice courage and veggie soup in cockatrice broth. They recognized the tempura from before, and one bite blew their minds. The soup is soul-warming perfection. Shira realizes cockatrice broth beats chicken, and with veggie umami, it's a total flavor bomb. I'm making cockatrice ramen. The broth is intense, so soy sauce is the perfect match. He quits dreaming of shashu, picturing fried cockatrice and onions instead. A soldier spots his weird grin, wondering what's on his mind. Shira's cooking a new dish he refuses to share, but when Diana asks about tomorrow's task, he gets visibly flustered. The boy skips recon, reporting Iwao's troops are sluggish and slow to react. The adjutant knows this is trouble. The owner's miracles proved the captain right, but the real miracle was a simple man entering the dungeon. The soldiers agreed, and Shiro begged for mercy, claiming he wasn't built for war. Graham disagrees but thanks him. Diana apologizes for the pressure, he brushes it off, and the commander thanks him for the whole squad. They obey his every whim, so she's finally making her move. Soldiers get to work, building exactly what he requested. Shiro's hyped for a shower. Graham's glad he's happy, reminding him of their past baths and urging him to dive in. Shiro asks if she's sure. Golems prep the master's water. One golem boils the water while two others mix and pour. Water's ready. He steps in, loving the perfect pressure and flexing his new luxury shower while soaping up. Underwater, he knows he can craft a heater, but he's got more urgent things to handle. Shiro hits the sea to fish with his guard dogs. This is his new daily life. Heading home, he reflects on life since quitting the dungeon, when knights suddenly appear with chests and bags to check on him. The knights wave and Cairo praises them, but their battle-torn armor leaves him confused. The knights head out and the guy commends their effort before pointing to Cheryl, who's passed out face down on the table. Shiro recalls praising the girl, but the situation is grim. Casualties are spiking, the healer is overwhelmed, and with Yuo's vanguard missing, they're completely on their own. Cheryl laughed, calling it routine. They don't need men's protection. She claims magic heals all and no one died, but he's still thinking about his dogs and the night girls. The girls suspect a miracle while the dog barks. Shiro claims he just woke up, hiding the truth. He created them with magic. Graham asks their origin, and the boy's mountain claim shocks the girl. Recalling his fifth miracle, Shiro boosts golem production to build a brand new model. He summons a display for a Tier 6 mermaid golem. It'll be ready in 49 hours. Hyped for the new golem, he shouts it's finally time for the cute mermaid. 2 days later, he crafts a new fish-tailed golem. Shiro watched the twitching golem, a green half-fish, half-human hybrid. It looked more like a newt than a mermaid, but he still found it charming. The golems toss the newt into the ocean. Shiro renames him SCMA and hands him a trident. Recalling his failed trident dive and the soldier mess, he orders Sema to catch tonight's seafood side dish. Shiro serves up 5 sea lobsters. Stunned by the catch, he preps lobster gratin, frying meat and onions while the shells simmer into a killer broth. The smell of food lures her into the kitchen. Graham wakes up smiling, lured back by the delicious smell. She tells the girl it's lobster for dinner, and she's hyped. Watching the golems, he jokes they sound like a married couple, hoping she'll warm up in a week. Graham asks what's cooking, the base is ready, and lobster paste is. Hiro offers her a spoonful of pasta. She glances around and opens wide, eager for a taste. Graham calls it delicious, but chokes when the guy hands her a bottle of white wine. Rem shut him down, telling the owner he's banned from drinking. Confused, he bows deep and apologizes for that day, but she brushes it off as an accident and tells him to forget it. Graham blushes and claims she doesn't care. He thinks she's cute, but when she catches him staring, he just waves it off. Hand on her chest, she asks if he's happy she's finally talking to him. Shira grins. Lane did all the talking when they landed, so he's happy now. Graham looks away, confused. She realized she'd always avoided the owner's eyes. Confused, Graham admits she's bad with guys but wants to change. Shiro notes she's finally warmed up. Graham agrees, thrilled she loves talking to him now. He smiles at her, his soul screaming with pure joy. Golem pulls the hot tray. The guy plates the lobster pasta and showers it with cheese. Shiro says to bake it and it's done. Graham grins, impressed, asking if his dad taught him. He claims he learned to cook at his family's restaurant, leaving her skeptical. The owner interrupts, announcing the bath is ready and offering to scrub her back. Graham is livid. She tells him to stop after he changed the shop's focus, but he just laughs it off as a joke. The owner sends the girl to bathe, while he mulls over Graham's brutal honesty and Chris's reaction to his proposal. He's already picturing his bathroom scene with the girl. He smiled, remembering his hug with Chris. Shiro pictured her using it as a washcloth. Everything was going exactly as planned. Back in the kitchen, he realized he loved Graham's bold energy. It reminded him of his old life, where pushy guys were always the most popular. Chris was fun, but Graham is the one he's actually falling for. He grinned, stroking his chin and imagining life as a Skinner or husband, before snapping back to reality. He realized Graham would never touch him at his post. The hero chooses a slow life. Helping dungeon raiders is cool, but expanding his tavern comes first. Romance can wait. He magically sprouts plants from the gallium. Graham sat at the table, eyes shut, smiling peacefully. The hero watched her, realizing she was exhausted. Trembling, he reports 2 weeks of zero progress despite no casualties. They found a massive door on floor 1 swarming with monsters, but wiped them all out. Confused, the girl asks who. She says they cleared over 100 bugs today. Picturing the swarm, he shouts for her to stop. He's heard enough. Massaging her shoulder, the girl begs for mercy, claiming she's just as terrified of them. Suddenly, another girl grabs her from behind, admitting she's exhausted and needs it. He kneads her shoulders, telling her to relax and that everything's fine. Graham blushes as Shiro admires her soft body. He notes her stiff shoulders and offers a lymph-draining massage, which she accepts. Warming her up, the hero asks why she hasn't rested in 2 weeks. Even soldiers get tired. Graham sheepishly agrees while massaging the guy, savoring the soft touch until Lane bursts in, shouting they're out of red sauce. The girl eyed the owner and her captain. Lane makes a meat excuse while Graham panics, but she quickly flips the script and confirms the romance. Lane looks away, trembling, but the guy just smiles, claiming it was only a massage and he didn't provoke the captain. Lane gets the hint and offers her a massage. She shyly accepts, struggling to hide her excitement. The hero asks what happened. Lane fusses, so I explain she brought red boar meat from the dungeon. Red boars are dungeon monsters with pork-like meat. The owner thanks the girl, already planning his next meal. He's lucky this monster's edible, or the research team would have eaten every animal on the island. He hands the golem the meat basket to store in the basement. He snaps the commander out of her red boardish trance to offer a back and calf massage, leaving Graham mortified. Shiro offers dinner and his bed, calling it a medical procedure. Diana tries to refuse, but when Graham asks, she gives her consent. Proud of winning over the girls, he plans Lane's massage. Entering his room, he scraps miracle number 6 to create something new. Morning hits and he's loving the rain. Dreary morning aside, he's hyped the body oil finishes today while golems pull weeds. His golem army is stacked. 6 Iwao, 8 Goku, 5 Chudadogs, 2 sea otter horses, a cuckoo duck, and a SEMA fish. He wasn't done yet, grabbing his magic lantern, lamp, and stove. He's obsessed with crafting magic tools. In a world without electricity, these mana-powered devices are daily essentials. Snapping out of his mixer versus blender debate, he admits he was distracted. Everything's ready, now he just needs the girls to return. Graham sighed walking the hall, still thinking about yesterday's incredible massage. Recalling last night, she keeps massaging. She was stiff as stone, just as he thought. Today, he'd loosen her up. He hoisted her and worked her spine. She's in pain but loves the mashed bones. MC offers a break, calling Lane up next as Graham stares ahead, embarrassed. She snaps out of her thoughts to check on Diana. It's way too quiet. Diana fell asleep smiling, leaving Twitch stunned to see her drooling. The girls head back, trading looks, each lost in thought. Raspberry bourbon pudding hits the table, and the night girls love the taste. Shiro pulls Graham and Lane aside to check how they feel post-massage. Graham woke up refreshed thanks to him, while Lane felt so good she fell right asleep. He whispered for them to keep it secret. Handing them the bottle, he promised something even more special today. Massage oil boosts circulation, purifies skin, and uses herbal scents for peak relaxation. Embarrassed, the girls ask about the bottle and the special services. He offers an oil massage, leaving the girls totally flustered. The girls started picturing an oil massage. The girls protest, but he insists it's strictly medical. The herbal scent just relaxes them and wipes out their fatigue. The girls got serious, praising the scent. He told them to meet in his room after dinner for a late start. MC explains the treatment and asks if they're on board. Graham nods despite being clueless. Saying goodbye, MC's happy to help his fans relax while having some fun too. He laughs, blushing as he imagines what's next. Shiro, the 6th miracle, apologizes. The sacrifice saved him, and he vows to bring him here next time. Graham paced her room, muttering. She was torn, arrive too early and look desperate, or arrive late and keep him waiting. Flustered and clueless about the massage, she felt a strange heat tingling inside, but insisted it was strictly medical. Graham realizes the oil means she has to strip, shouting for her to stay while she unpacks her bags. She tossed her clothes, fine with being seen naked, but her ragged underwear, that was a total deal-breaker. 3 new pairs lay before her, white cotton, strawberry print, and blue stripes. She wondered which looked best. She ditched the old options and picked the superior third choice. Ram checks the mirror, too tight, but she's out of options. She remembered the owner's kindness. This was the play. Graham finds Diana and asks if she's ready. She says no prep is needed, shocking him. Diana never slacks, especially since they have to undress for Shiro. Towel in hand, he greets the girls and thanks them for coming. Shiro starts with Graham and orders Lane to change. The girls obey, tossing their clothes in the basket and stripping down. Diana's in lace lingerie. Graham stutters in disbelief, but Diana claims her wisdom makes her ready for anything. MC wants the girls to relax and have fun. Ram agrees and shyly crawls to the bed as the guy orders. She lies down and shuts her eyes. Caught off guard by her lying face up, he's got no clue what to do. Shiro takes the blame and wings it to keep her comfortable. Grinning, he pours oil and starts the massage, asking if it hurts as he rubs her down. Ram panicked and lied that she was pleased. He just smirked, enjoying the view. On this scorching island, girls flaunt their bodies without a care, but for Shiro, the constant exposure is pure torture. Hands hovering, he savored every second. Shiro notes her tense muscles and asks for any off-limit spots before going lower, and Graham gives him the green light. Thrilled, our MC vows to give it his all. He flips her over and keeps massaging her legs. Embarrassed, Graham grabs her red face. Exhausted, he slumps into a chair. As the golem brings water, he announces he's finally done. Both girls fell asleep, side by side, on the hero's bed. As the guy drinks, Lane wakes up and tells Graham to get up. The massage is over. The commander leaps up, blushing as he locks eyes with the owner. He grins, asking how she feels after her procedure nap, but she's too dazed to form a single word. Graham looks away, saying she's fine, but he thinks she's cute. She felt great yesterday, but today she's melting and begs for a redo. They'll hide it from the soldiers, and Lane agrees to repeat the procedure next time they're exhausted. Graham buttons her shirt, blushing. The hero knows he's losing them, but senses more, gripping his glass with a stone-cold face. He summons Goku the Golem to serve the girls cocktails. Shiro identifies the rum, pine juice, and syrup mix, but when Graham tries to speak, he cuts her off, claiming. The girls loved the drinks, quickly downing a second and third glass. Shiro's hyped they love the drinks, so he adds cocktails to the secret menu. A few glances later, the girls are already blushing. The girls head back. Plan failed. Shiro watches them leave and downs his drink in tears. Staring at the stars beside the golem, he realizes he lacks the guts to take the first step in size. Under the high sun, our hero meets his creation Simon and pumps his fist, shouting that they're heading out to sea. He spots Graham and Lane on the beach, greets them, and invites them to join, asking if they're off today. The trio sails on, their boat powered by a mermaid gallon motor. The boat's insane speed catches the girls off guard. Lane's stunned he's using a golem engine to turn their boat into a speedster. Recalling SEMA's 64 km/h top speed, he realizes more golems. Graham enjoys the breeze until the hero asks about the nearest land. She points east to Bavanda, Regalta territory, the very place she once fought. Graham warns the war zone is under 280 km away, and it's a total disaster. The girl doubts their boat can survive, but the guy plans to use golems to carry it. Shiro asks if it's dangerous. She agrees, calling solo travel insane. Graham offers the papers, but Bavanda's ports are locked down. Since Khan fled, the boy figures the ruined capital is safe and asks for the documents. Shiro asks her to vouch for him, and she agrees, claiming the Empire now owns the island, making him an official citizen. Graham adds that as a dungeon explorer, Shiro could even. She realizes he's not alone and chief is just a title. It's a paid gig, but she warns him, don't expect big money. He knew they'd rip him off, but with nowhere else to go, he needed the security. Shiro smiled and asked for the paperwork. Out at sea, Lane asks where they are, and the guy calls it a secret fishing spot. Shiro tells the stunned girls to start catching the local lobster and abalone. Lane stripped, Graham followed, sweating with embarrassment as she took off her shirt. He watched the girls, hoping bringing them along would let them finally enjoy the island. He blurts out they're beautiful, leaving the girls flustered and begging him to say it again. Shiro grinned silently, stepping onto the boat's edge in his homemade trunks. Seeing him, the girls panic and go totally speechless. Lane asks about his clothes, but he claims you can't fish dressed and dives in while the girls watch him splash. Lane smiles peacefully, lifts her commander, and drops him into the sea with a splash. Submerged, Graham puffs her cheeks and clutches herself, eyes shut tight. She peeks open, staring straight ahead. She spots Shiro underwater as Graham swims up to him. The trio grabbed sea curiosities and had a blast at sea. Shiro hops back aboard and reveals the catch to the girls. He spotted a crowd of unarmored female knights sunbathing on the beach, a killer view, but he had no time to waste. Snapping awake under Graham's gaze, the guy bolts, yelling it's not a real beach day yet. He promises to return and rushes to the island kitchen with a pot of. He starts boiling sugar for syrup, orders Goku to find tons of fruit, and has Iwo's team haul water barrels to the beach. Waiting for his sweet syrup to boil, the boy has Shiro's golems chop fruit and pack baskets before hauling the food cart back to the beach. He and his golems set up the canopy as the girls approach, asking what he's doing and offering to help. The girls anchor their tent to boulders, while one magic freezes a block of sugar water for the golems to grade. He tops crushed ice with syrup, fruit, and milk to finish the dungeon ice cream, and the girls are blown away by how delicious it looks. Brain freeze hits, but the girls love the flavor, shocked that ice could be this good. He realizes then, ice is a rare luxury in their empire. The girl yells for everyone to line up, and a massive crowd instantly swarms the tent for ice cream. Word spread fast. Girls swarmed for shaved ice, and the line exploded. Seeing every soldier gathered at the tent, the boy hoped they'd stay in line. Since the whole crew was here, he decided to plan a surprise for their day off. Raising her chopsticks, the dark-haired girl declares the shaved ice a hit and kicks off their next show. She screams about the Shiro Sonata Cup Beach Flag Tournament, where the winner gets special oil applied by the owner. The guy just sits there, totally embarrassed. Stick to healed or supported. Let's try one more. Lane and Rome sat out because their physical buffs were too op, while Cheryl used recovery. She sabotaged the pros' stomachs and got disqualified, sobbing because she only wanted the prize. At the count, the girls bolted past him like a typhoon. The boy stands silent, hair whipping in the wind and sand. Shocked by their superhero strength, he watches a girl snatch the flag for the win. Feeling bad for the rest, he grants prizes to the top 3 just to keep things interesting. Back at the hotel, he asks Graham if her weekend was boring. She stays silent, sipping juice as he leans in to get her attention. Shiro notices she's down and approaches. He sits and offers a drink to cure her loneliness, ignoring her protests. Graham mentions oil and slams his drink. The guy's stunned, the girl's choking, and Cyro pats the commander's back. Slumped over the table, she sadly admits she envies the soldiers. Smiling, the guy drags the girl to his room as Graham asks where they're going. Grabbing the bottle, he offers her a special massage. Flustered, she agrees. 2 golems haul boulders while the boy supervises. He's building the soldiers' waiting area today. War isn't his thing, but the system guarantees magic stones. It's been 25 days since the researchers arrived, Graham and the boy took charge while Graham backed him up. Dungeon gates burst open and the knights storm out. The girls thank the owner for his help, but the knights are fuming over the cramped, monster-filled halls. MC realizes this raid is a total mess. He spots a familiar face in the crowd and calls Graham over. They trade waves. Sheer admits they struggled today, but Graham stays grateful as Lane heads back to the hotel. He tells her the Foundation finishes today, just 1 ditch left before the coast. Graham smiles, thrilled. He's glad she's finally comfortable, but she knows her return to the Imperial capital is only days away. Heading back to the hotel, he asks about the dungeons. She sighs, monsters are everywhere, stalling research, but they finally secured a safe zone this morning. Graham says they warded the B1 West room with 4 massive pillars to block monsters. The boy recognizes them instantly. They're the same pillars the knights showed him before throwing him into the dungeon. She's glad the install's finished. He asks if they leave in 5 days, and she confirms. Food's running low, and he warns they can't feed another army on just fruit and monsters. She plans to open the island to the public, leaving him completely baffled. Graham's shifting research from the government to the Adventurers Guild. Since monster magic stones power their weapons, the MC agrees that dungeon experts are the perfect fit. Hiro asks if steady magic stones beat treasure. She smiles, impressed by his sharp mind. Shiro wasn't impressed by the praise. He was average in his old life, but in this world, men are banned from school and stay illiterate. Men are denied education and seen as inferior, unable to even count money. Graham panics, swearing she respects his mind. He believes her, but knows your environment defines you, and he. Staring at the commander, he realized he still judged her by Japanese values despite this world's views. Grinning, he just played dumb. He told her he was just as depraved, making Graham snap. Hera saw her flushed and confused. He claimed he wasn't like other guys, and she felt the same. Shiro reveals he's from another world. Stunned, she stares him down and asks what he means. Cue the awkward silence. He knew it sounded fake, but he swore it was real. She played along, but he knew she didn't believe him. He didn't care, he just needed to get it off his chest. Arms wide, he spills his secrets, leaving her stunned. Sweating and confused, guilt crushes him as he drops to his knees. He begs for forgiveness and swears he's changed, but when she calls his name, he flinches. She asks if he wants her to agree. Her eyes lit up, asking if he'd mind the same treatment. Confused, he agrees. Graham blushes and fidgets under his gaze. The hero's stunned, but realizes this world's rules are just different and shrugs it off. All's well that ends well. She returns silent after the clash. Shiro bids her farewell, hoping to see her at dinner as she heads inside. Haunted by the girl's trembling voice in the forest, he distracts himself with dinner, asking Goku if he's finished eating. MC preps cucumber yogurt soup and veggie mayo sandwiches, calling everyone for lunch. The girls praise the food, but dread leaving in just a few days. Cheryl's a lock for the next research team since healers are scarce. Her friends joke she's in love, and she actually admits it. She says she's happier here, but the guy eavesdrops while holding a towel. Shira knew war was coming, making this dungeon paradise compared to the front lines. Lane raised her glass for a toast. The girl tells them it's time to rejoice. The girls toasted back. Everyone cheers for the southern paradise, while the guys watch the girls drink. Graham sips his drink and exhales. That night, the golems scrubbed each other. He just wanted them clean, so he crafted simple coconut brushes and lined the path with lanterns. He checks his status screen, hyped for the level up. He's built 2 mermaid golems and a third's coming, aiming for a speedboat, when Miracle suddenly lunges forward, startling his owner. He calls out, a girl answers, and she sends a Graham asking to enter once he's dressed. She stands before him in her nightgown as he asks why she's up so late. She leaned against the doorframe, eyes locked on him. Graham couldn't sleep, so she took a walk and heard bathroom noises. Looking away, she claimed she was waiting for him, then shook her head. Graham wanted a word with him. Strolling under the night sky, the boy is overwhelmed by a sea of stars he can't even name, while Shiro admits his home never had a view this crowded. Graham points to the stars, asking if Citro is from space. Unsure if Earth and this world share a universe, Citro admits he doesn't know. He asks if she smiles at him, admitting it makes sense. He grins, asking if he's special. She admits he's the only one she can talk to so easily. Graham says she's never walked with a guy like this. He asks if she's shy and tells her to be more confident. She stays silent, then asks what he thinks of her short. He says short girls are icons back home, but Graham confirms they're bottom tier here. She sighs, finally admitting she still struggles to get close to women. Ram didn't understand her own words, but the guy stayed silent, so she just went along with it. She felt he finally understood her loneliness. He realized she'd been through hell. Shiro tells her to ignore everyone else, calling her beautiful inside and out. She's left totally flustered. Silence, the boy turned red, lost in thought. Shiro knew she was waiting for him to move, so he grabbed her hand under the romantic night, thinking she was a total coward. He led her through the thicket to the gate. Near the dungeon, she questions him, but he just enjoys the solitude and the sea breeze. Shiro calls the view beautiful, like falling into the night sky, and she agrees. She said yes but didn't hug him. Baffled and out of options, Shiro took the lead and approached her. He loomed over her as she called out, staring straight into his eyes. Shiro and kissed. Graham grabbed the girl's hand. He forced Graham into a hug and squeezed back. Mid-kiss, he mentally reassures her that he won't reject her. They kept kissing in the night breeze. They pulled away, but she asked for another. They kiss again, trading shy glances as he waits for her to take the lead. She's blushing and sweating hard, catching Shiro off guard. He didn't realize she was this into him, but since she's frozen, he takes the lead. He offers her a good time, but she's still asking what he means. Shiro suggests sex, leaving the girl wide-eyed and reeling in confusion. She blushes as he realizes men here aren't this bold, telling her he only asked because he wanted to. He reminds her that his answer back in the forest was 100% sincere. She stays silent, so he asks if she's scared. She says no. He claims nothing really changes, you just lose your illusions about the opposite sex, when she asks what he means. Shiro thumbs up, promising she'll finally understand romance, and she squeezes him tight. He claims experience but warns he's no pro. Despite being a total novice, he bets women here think just like men from his world. Suddenly, she calls out to him. Panicking, Graham asks if he's sure since she has zero experience. He says he doesn't sleep around, but she already knew. He'll grant any reasonable request, and she takes the deal. Ram asks for the plan while Sipo talks from atop her head, distracted by her silky hair. He makes the call and she's in. Morning hits and Shiro's watch blares. It's 5 a.m. Yawning, he realizes he only slept 3 hours. Last night was pure madness. He recalled her face from last night. She's on top of him, wrecked and exhausted. He gasps he's already dying. Ram told them to fix their face, then they swapped places. He thinks her endurance is unique, but with only one before, it's hard to compare. He trudges to the bathroom to wash up. He meets Graham and greets the girl. Surprised, she quickly buttons her shirt. She reached out nervously, but Shiro told her to relax. The squad would handle it. Graham finally gave in. Shiro asks if she's hitting the head, but she avoids his gaze, claiming she's just waking up. Thinking she's already cleansed, Shiro heads out to use the bathroom himself. He spins around to face the girl. Even after that, he's still hungry. She just smiles. Shiro stared blankly at the sky, mouth open and lost in thought. He's running on empty, and even a shower won't help. Cheryl spots him swaying and asks what's wrong. She heals him with restoration magic. Cheryl asks if he likes the healing. He says yes, as magic flows like water, clearing his head and lightening his body. Once finished, he jumps with a glow, feeling incredible. Shiro bolts to wash dishes with his extra strength, leaving the girl baffled as she waves him off. A system alert pops up. Shiro's golem shouts that SEMA is done. He's hitting the beach and leaving the rest to them, flanked by golem pets. The beach is scorching. Summer's officially here, and he's already planning to craft some sunglasses. The sim reached him and the tests began. He hopped into the boat as the golems powered him forward. He praises his golems and weighs carriage versus dog sled. Mermaids head to the dungeon cave, while his flying golem directs Team Miracle to the cliffside exit. He swims to the cave and asks the mermaids to return the boat. He climbed to the surface and shouted he was there. Shiro sees a miracle. If this route's faster, he needs a bigger boat for the golems. Walking back, he spots the girl's cart, praises her work, and asks if it's treasure. The knight dismisses the skeletons as trash and asks for info. MC explains their fallen soldiers turned monsters, while the girl identifies their gear. The knight mentions golden armor, but the boy knows they're unlucky. The girl swings a rusty blade, calling it trash, but Shiro sees perfect tool material and claims the scrap. The knight hands him the blade, mocking that nobody wants such trash. Shiro trembles under the crushing weight, but despite the grime, this massive haul of iron solves his material problems. Shiro feels the sword fit his hand and uses magic to uncover its origin. It's the legendary Exoscience Ball, a 6th-rank angel's weapon infused with holy magic to purge all evil. Stunned by the find, he questions Graham. Tonight's dessert, creme brulee and iced coffee. Helen used her subtle magic to roast the caramel with minimal firepower, and Graham was the first to taste it. The girls melt at the taste, so he offers them seconds. She shyly agrees since he finds her cute, then remembers his question about the 6th-level angel. She calls it a guardian angel backed by holy knights, blessing anyone who fights evil. Graham says light spells summon this angel, like the thorny light of heaven. Only high clergy and flower knights use it to vaporize hundreds of undead in one blow. He asks if 6th-rank angels carry swords. Stirring caramel, she asks what he means. Graham recalls holy art of angels wielding swords to slay Labai's evil. The boy asks if the blade is in the human world, but she dismisses the legend of Umberto's sword. Shiro asks what if the sword is found. She warns it'd be massive. It's a powerful sacred ball. Female knights suddenly swarm Shiro, demanding answers. Baffled by the crowd, he uses the chaos to tell Graham they'll settle the bill later. Once alone, he brings up the fee but quickly pivots with a fake apology while golems clear the girls' tables. Drawing his sword, he admits he's here for the ball. She questions the rust, but he reveals it's an angel's blade. She stared with empty eyes, treating him like a total moron. Cheryl realized it had been forever since Graham looked at him like that, and the guy turned bright red. He asks if she believes him, but she's skeptical. Smirking, he leans into Graham's face, reminding him of yesterday's talk and how magic led him straight. She's embarrassed, but he promises his magic can fix it in 32 hours. Graham trusts him and tells him to try, but asks why. She's confused. If it's an angel's sword, why tell her? He's a trash fighter and can't sell the sword, so he tells the girl to give it to the Empire for credit. She agrees, but still hesitates. She points him out in the trash a soldier is dragging. The girl laughs, calling him honest. He agrees to the repair. Use your magic now. The sword begins to glow. The sword shot up and vanished with the light. Shocked, she yells that the sword vanished. The boy warns it's magic. Graham trembles, writing that a mage is too rare to believe. He bows, promising she'll understand in 32 hours, but she just asks, "Where's the sword?" He didn't have an answer. He could magically summon his sword and creature anywhere within 10 meters. He'd follow her after repairs, but refused the dungeon, asking her to lie about where she found. She sighed, doubting the angel's blade. He laughed, but she apologized, insisting she won't believe it until she sees it. Graham leaves him the repairs. After she says goodnight, the guy snaps, demanding her plans and warning he'll be waiting in his room. She shyly agrees, but he demands an early night for tomorrow's dungeon raid. Graham apologizes for yesterday. She blushes, admitting she's lost control, but he just smiles and mocks her noble guts. She apologizes again, but he drops the title. With 4 days until Graham leaves, the angel's sword is the perfect gift for a temporary lover. 2 days later, the angel's sword is fixed, and he's told to pick its spawn location. While the MC shaves, hyped the repair is finished, a man delivers the fixed sword to Graham's house, and the girl invites him in. He enters to find her bags packed. She's leaving in 2 days. Shiro extends his arms, and the space sparkles. A glowing sword appears before the pair, shocking Graham. It's a real angel's blade. They stare at the sword as the boy senses a surge of magic. Graham asks to report it to the Empire, and he smiles, giving her the green light. She hugs him, thanking him sincerely. Graham grabs Ciro's hand, promising to handle everything if he swims to her sanction. Ciro reminds her they've been over this. As a commander, she can't break the rules. The MC refuses to be a secret lover or a coward. He won't ditch his wife for fake happiness, choosing instead to support the man she'll eventually marry. Graham looked down, trembling. She refused to be another man. She breaks down, vowing to stay. He pulls her into a tight embrace as she pounds her fists against his chest. Shira knew she'd be punished for failing, but she just stood there trembling. He told her their time together was his greatest treasure. Eyes closed, he welcomes her, but she stays silent. Ram pulls back, wipes her face, and apologizes. He smiles, promising her favorite hot sandwiches for breakfast. Fighting back tears, she smiled at the proposal. Sun's out, seas calm. A guy in shades chills on the shore. Fishing with his dogs, he realizes fixing the angel's ball drained him. He needs 20 hours to recover. Sensing the looming breakup, his heart felt empty as 3 mermaid golems swam to meet him on the shore. He pictured emerald seas, blue skies, and a sad, serene world, the peak of beauty. The liner docks and crowds swarm the pier. The girls thank him for the shelter, and Layla hugs the owner. The girls fumed, demanding their turn for a hug as Lane watched, smiling. He approaches the taller, dark-haired girl with a smile and pulls her into a surprise hug. Lane thanks the owner with a smile, and he tells them to stay safe. Graham stood silent, back turned. Their real goodbye was last night, but fearing this was the end, the owner called out to her. Graham turned and smiled, slipping on her shades. She agrees and says goodbye, promising to meet again. He nods. The girl sails for the liner as Shiro waves from the pier. Graham smiles and waves back, saying goodbye. Captain asks about her glasses. A teammate blames the sun, but Graham stays silent, just smiling. Smiling, she watched the girls and thought of Graham. She felt decisive, but he could sense her hidden tension. Last night, Graham sobbed as Shiro wiped her tears away. Shira holds her cheek and notes her tears, earning a thank you, but the thought of tomorrow's goodbye triggers a fresh wave of sobbing. Her eyes are red from crying, and Cheryl knows she can't face her team looking like a mess. The guy suddenly slips sunglasses on her, catching Graham off guard. She says it'll work and apologizes to the guy. Shiro pulls off her glasses and starts talking. He tells her she can finally cry, and she gives Shiro a sad, tearful smile. Shiro and his golems hit the shore to see the nights off. He didn't even notice the tear fall, consumed by sadness. Shiro stared at the sky, feeling his life turn suddenly empty and hollow. Expecting a wyvern messenger, he wondered which girl from Milano's team would arrive. Shiro checked his stats. His 4th SEMA was done, Golan production was up, but he spots a level 1 Earth Flint Golem, a pest killer that hunts crop-stealing vermin in tight spots. It's a golem made of solid flint. Goku and Miracle failed the rat hunt, so he summons 5 Earth Golems, naming the first Wiggles and looking up with a smirk. Shiro sighs, feeling like a hollow shell. He needs them to hurry up. Meanwhile, at Malaya's port city, a hooded girl slips through the narrow alleys. Walking in silence, she weighs her path from captain to avenger, unable to leave the island behind. She peels back her hood, pauses, and finally utters Shiro's name. Hiding her face, she thanks Shiro's magic for her safety, though she'd rather have stayed. but her eyes flared with rage. It was time to settle the score. She thinks of Janice while another girl sprints down the same path, gasping for air. Lugging her bags, the village girl scrambles to avoid Janice's fury. Perched on a gargoyle in the heart of Miltia, the cloaked girl watched the city below. She glimpses a man with tails and realizes she's finally been caught. Watching from above, she knew this city was their secret pirate base. Disguised as merchants, they weren't just recruiting, they were hunting. They think she's dead. Recalling the ship where she was backstabbed, she grits her teeth and rasps one name, Bhutan. She glares at the passerby, eyes locked. Word is, she's second on her blacklist, right behind Jenny. She watches Bhutan swagger off with a shy prostitute, heading to the warehouses to dodge room fees. What a miser. Bhutan thuds onto the box, stretching her right leg out. He's clueless, but she smirks and demands he remove her shoe. When he questions her, she screams at him to obey. He pulls off his boot, revealing the commander's stinking foot. He asks what she wants, so she orders him to lick her foot clean, savoring every second. The cloaked girl watched in disgust. He tried to object, but she cut him off, demanding why he dared defy her orders. He panics and tries to backtrack, but she shuts him up with a kick to the crotch. The girl in the raincoat watched, thinking nothing changed, while the other screamed she was paying and ordered him beaten, promising to make him lick her whole body. The watcher froze, fearing if she stepped in, the girl would take the guy hostage, knowing her wild nature and not wanting to drag an innocent man into it. Mind set, she lunges forward, letting fate decide the rest. Tearfully licking his toes, the boy blushes as Putin praises his talent. The cloaked girl shadows Bhutan, grabs her head, and squeezes, apologizing for the interruption as Bhutan freezes in terror. Pinned and screaming, Bhutan claims she's a Janus pirate officer, but the cloaked girl calls her bluff. Desperate, Bhutan offers a bribe to buy her freedom. She agrees, grabs the cash from Bhutan's pocket, and tosses it to the retreating boy. She orders him home, and he bolts in a panic. She asks what they'll do, but the shadow mocks her, asking if she recognizes his voice. She searches her memory. She stutters in shock, screaming, "Is that the captain?" The girl rips off her hood and hisses that she's right. She begs him to wait, face drenched in terror. She screams she's innocent, but his hand stays locked in her hair. Gripping tight, she demanded the truth. Was she innocent? Was there another traitor? She screams Janice forced them. The captain gasps, "Doesn't matter now, where is she?" Shaken, she scrambles for an answer, asking if talking will spare her. The captain paused, then promised to think it over. She reveals there at the Three Blackbirds, a new spot owned by Janice's lover, where a card game has every officer hammered. She laughed about finding a man, but the captain snapped, telling her to shut up and ask for the hotel. The inn's in Longland Alley. She spills everything, giggling nervously as she begs for mercy. Fingers twirled on the woman's head as she stood there clueless. Grabbing her hair, she reminds her she's still considering it, then snaps that she's already dead to her. She screams for it to stop, but he crushes her head, triggering a massive blast that ruffles her cloak. Her fire dies into smoke. She looks down, marks another name off, and walks away. The woman stays down. She reaches the building, wondering if it's Three Blackbirds, but the place looks closed. Peeking through the window gap, she spots a group playing cards led by a black-haired woman. She slammed the cards down and smirked. 7. Someone yells the captain, S on another level, and the whole crew cracks up. She scowls at the title captain and orders Roy to bring another bottle of rum. He offers another round. She wonders if he's Janice's boyfriend. He's cute, but looks miserable. Roy apologizes to Janice. That was his last bottle. Janice scowls, asking if he's trying to humiliate her in front of her subordinates. Roy claims the store is closed, but Janice snaps that a real lover would find a way. He said he'd see what he could do and bolted. The subordinate warns he'll run, but she snaps back. Men need a firm hand. She says the key is putting him in his place from day one, in every part of his life. Awestruck by her captain, she smirks, ready to spill a secret. Seeing her twisted face and hearing her name sends the MC into a rage. Janice smirks, asking her crew if they want to see a well-mannered man. The crowd laughed as our hero leaped onto the roof and hid. With the lever gone, only 4 remain: Janice, Futch, Anna, and Hillary. Janice is playing it safe, so traps are likely. She considers an explosive ambush but scraps the plan. They'd sense it instantly. She pulls a magic artifact from her pocket, deciding it's time to use it. Looted from a merchant ship, this artifact seals lost gravity magic legendary for crushing anything. She's right beneath them, 3 seconds to activation. She uses low power to stay hidden. She rose and triggered the artifact. No last words, just thoughts. Cloak fluttering in the wind, she realizes the truth. Without love, happiness is impossible. She visualized her targets, certain Janus and his crew traded true happiness for their own selfish desires. She leaped from the roof. Revenge was complete, and her life as a pirate avenger was finally over. Her cloak flies off in the wind. She's already chosen her new path. She left the alley, dreaming of becoming an adventurer and raiding the Monte Cristo Island dungeon. Her life wasn't perfect, but at least she wasn't a criminal this time. She planned to get famous, stack cash, and start a family. Thinking of his smile, she beamed. The artifact activates, expanding to swallow the building. It grew massive. She marched ahead, never looking back. An explosion levels the restaurant, leaving a massive crater as crowds watch in shock. The girl heads to the embankment. Roy bolts down the alley, gasping for air. He forced the shop open and scored the rum, but after a hostile welcome, he didn't even have time to breathe. Sweat drenched his face, but Janice could do way worse. Roy hangs his head, reflecting on their time. He remembers their first meeting, her reaching out with a smile. Janice bailout him out of his mom's debt, but he wouldn't call her a savior. His fate was still the same. He reached out and returned, relieved. Being the beautiful Janice's man was a massive upgrade over the fate he escaped. Roy remembered Janice's short fuse, one wrong move, and she'd kick him or start throwing things. She constantly chewed him out, but Roy always took it. Despite the beatings, he couldn't forget how kind Janice was whenever he pleased her. He ran with nowhere left to go. He couldn't afford to anger her. Roy hits the ruins and drops his bag in shock. A man yells for answers, but Roy's just as clueless. He just got back. Another explosion rocks the scene. Houses burn as people scream about a lamp, calling for every water mage to assemble. The ruins burn as everyone watches in silence. Magic or not, Roy had to see if anything survived. He charged into the building to save what he could before it collapsed. The building's about to collapse. Janus grabs his silver. At least he can save the loot. He steps on something and screams. The blast victims are unrecognizable. He scans the area, wondering if his coins melted when a raspy voice calls out. "Janice," he asks. He spots Janice trapped in the rubble and shouts. He approached her, trembling. She snapped at him to explain himself and find a healer fast. Roy says the doc needs cash up front. Janice has her wallet ready. Silver and gold glinted in his wallet. Janice yelled to run, and Roy bolted. He bolts down the alley. He hangs a left at Piazza Lupanto. The healer's house is close. She hates late-night visits, but 7 silver coins will buy her help. Roy sprinted on, gasping for air. He stops to breathe, spotting the square. He's almost there. He had to hurry. Janice would be pissed and start cursing again. Roy realized, after everything she'd suffered, would Janice hit him? The boy remembered her clearly, bloody, burned, and her bones shattered. Roy saw her usual arrogance was gone. She looked weak, like she was on the verge of death. He wondered if she still had the strength to raise her broken arm and unleash her usual abuse. He grips the wallet, staring at the fork ahead. Left the healer, right the unknown. Roy's stunned. He finally has a choice. He clutched the purse to his chest, blind to what waited on the right. His face lit up. This was a godsend, the chance of a lifetime. He charges forward. Roy breaks right. The island's tiny through the clouds. He stared at the sea. 3 weeks since Graham and her squad left the island. He thought he was past the sentiment, but he still missed them. He'd give anything to talk to someone, even Lena. Graham was opening the dungeon to the public, and soon, adventurers would swarm the place. Crossing his arms, he told him to get ready. He grinned, wanting to look sharp for any cute girls and maybe land a serious relationship. Hero turns, ordering a cave remodel. He wants style and luxury for the guests, mechanical dogs in tow. He signals for a tropical resort style, and the dogs bark in ready agreement. Checking his stats, he realizes he's been baking bread for the Graham squad nonstop. Hero checks his status. He's finally hit max level. With food production and creation magic bonuses, he's slashed bread making from an hour to just 44 seconds. He bites the bread. It's better than ever. This quality makes him a master baker anywhere he goes. Medicine hit level 4, unlocking alcohol. He brews sake instantly, pairing it with white fish kabujime for tonight's feast. He shouted they sailed offshore to land a massive catch. He'd just let SCMA handle it if he wanted to catch fish. He loved the boat life, calling it his hobby. Eyes closed, he recalls his first catch the day he arrived. Now he's addicted, pure irony. Fishing's the perfect time killer, since days on this island move so slow. He's nearly finished the book's Graham and the officers left behind, finally mastering this world's culture and faith. He found some adult novels, but hated the gender-swapped roles where men serve women. He shouted, asking if this world was a fantasy and if the officers dreamed it up. With no catch, the hero planned upgrades for SEMA, a roof, a catamaran frame, and golem hauling strength. A voice tells him to wake up, leaving him baffled. A bandaged stranger blocks his path. The hero pulls off his glasses, demanding a name. He wondered if anyone reached the island, but the stranger just said she missed him after all this time. He asks her name again, certain he's heard that voice before. Why hide her face? Offended, she asks if he's really forgotten her. She claims she knows his lover, but he's stumped, Graham or Chris. She grabs her face and laughs like a maniac. She tears off the bandage, screaming he doesn't know her, but they'll fix that. Bandages fall, revealing her burnt face. The hero recoils in terror. Janice couldn't find a healer and begged him to look closer. Turning her head, she told him to look at her, not the burns. Tense, he stared at her. That pale skin looked familiar. Suddenly, he shouted, finally recognizing her. The hero trembles, asking if she's with Cecilia. Grinning, the woman confirms his guess and reveals she's the vice captain. Terrified, he asks why she's on the island. She just smiles. She was obviously there for him. Janice demanded to know where those scars came from. Terrified she left for revenge, the hero forced himself to ask, was this Cecilia's doing? Janice screamed he was right. No one uses gravity magic, so Cecilia must have used the secret sphere. Cecilia failed. She's still alive, despite what she thinks. Janice licks her lips, her turn. She won't kill her yet, she's making her, and everyone around her suffer first. Janice picks him first. Shaking with fear, the boy asks why. Janice's intel reveals a drunk Cecilia blabbed her feelings for the hero to everyone. She screams she loves his face, it's pure satisfaction. She tells him not to worry, she'll have her fun before finishing him off. Janice would send it to Cecilia after their fun with a note, thanks for the treat. Hero summons the Sims to kill her. Trident-wielding warriors leap from the water and strike. She effortlessly dodges and counters. The Sims shatter into the water. The woman notes the attack's raw power. She smirks, asking if that's all the hero's got. The duck column's on fire. The golem hits the water. Janice stays alert, asking if they're really all golems. Tied to a pole, Janice taunts the hero. He's out of moves, and his Sims aren't responding. A total replay of his first day. Why the gut punch? In this waking nightmare, reality was getting hard to verify. Peace made him soft. He'd fooled himself. This island was never safe. Janice threatened to beat him into submission, but chose a different path. The hero was disgusted. She called his skin too beautiful to waste. She had other plans for him, leaving the boy speechless and disappointed. She asked what he thought. Was she beautiful? He says Cecilia is way more beautiful. She chuckles and fires a spell. Annoyed, the hero realized even this moment was repeating. Janice vows to retrain him fast and make him beg for mercy. The hero blankly started counting sheep. He tried counting clouds, but his terror was uncontrollable. Janice won't start until he resists. Realizing he's cornered, the hero desperately hunts for an escape. Licking the blade, she holds it to his throat. If she doesn't like him, he's dead. Hero spots a chip on the blade and instantly hatches a plan. The system shows the knife stats, 4 seconds to fix. He triggers the repair spell. Janice's knife glows, the repair begins, then the blade instantly vanishes, leaving her stunned. Janice screams in panic, but the system confirms the knife is fixed. Now she just needs to pick a spawn point. He skips her chest and sinks the blade into her leg, making Janice scream. He targets the leather bindings next. They vanish instantly, freeing his hands. He leaps up and Janice asks how. System alert, 8 seconds to repair. The sword vanishes from her hands and she's livid. Janice curses and swings her hand, unleashing explosion magic. Time was up. He had to kill her now before his short life ended. A massive explosion swallows Janice. The hero shields his eyes, staring in shock. The blast hurled Janice off the boat and into the water. Laughing nervously, the hero wonders what hit him. He looks up. A figure is hovering in the air. A girl with a suitcase and a floating umbrella. He wondered who she was. Speechless, the hero screams when he realizes he's naked. Scrambling into his clothes, he sees her emotional gaze and asks if she's the one who saved him. He smiled, thanked her, and introduced himself. The rescuer sticks the landing on the boat. She introduces herself as Sierra. Shiro stared at her pale face and reddish-brown eyes. She looked completely lifeless. He spots her ears and wonders if she's even human. Janice's charred body floats in the water, still smoking. Shiro asks about Janice, but the girl says she's dead. Confused, Shiro claims he understands everything. Shiro asks how she reached the island, and Sierra claims she's just a solo traveler exploring. Intrigued by the girl flying solo, Shiro invites her to his island inn to repay her help. She nods. The hero wonders how she isn't boiling in that heavy dress and black cloak, despite the umbrella. At the island, Shiro orders the Sims to hunt their old ship and sink numbers 1, 2, and the cuckoo. Order issued, he turns to Sierra. She's still in the boat, splashing the water. Shiro mounts the mechanical horse, heading deep inland to reach the inn. She soared onto his horse, stunning the hero. He wondered if his lack of clothes bothered her. She asked if Sierra was hungry, and Sierra said yes. Hiro says they're eating now and asks what she likes. Sierra calmly admits she loves blood. Shiro froze, stunned silent by her answer. She prefers blood. Shiro's in total denial, refusing to believe her words. The girl picked Group B. I shouted, asking if this world had blood types. Sierra says humans are clueless, only vampires know the truth. Connecting her words to the anxiety she caused, Shiro reached the only possible conclusion. He asks if she's a vampire. She says yes. He tensed. She was definitely a vampire, but she'd saved his life. Now he only feared what was coming next. Shiro asks if she drinks blood, then panics and plays it off as a joke. Her face darkens. She hates it and writes, grind in surprise. She hated her flesh being torn. It was disgusting. She hates being bitten, cut, or blasted by wind magic. Shiro asks how she even drinks blood. Sierra says she sticks to mugs whenever possible. She's a kind vampire, he said, sighing in relief. Sierra denies it, vowing to kill without hesitation. Shiro freezes, unable to understand her at all. Maybe a bit too short. No, 60–80% is a target. Shorter is usually better for YouTube. Let's check the horrified by her words part. He asks if she's gonna kill him. Sierra asks why, and he says it's to drink his blood. Sierra fumed that killing is easy, but drawing blood is impossible. The hero realized everyone has their own struggles. She'd never seen a man use magic before and was instantly intrigued. Shira saw his repair skill. Her interest is a total win. She's keeping him around. He'd do whatever it took to satisfy her. They hit the hotel entrance. Sierra waits at the table while Shiro hits the shower. He sighed, needing to wash up. Did Janice have any diseases? He wondered what to give Sierra, then realized she wanted blood. He feared pain, but he had to act. Could creation magic forge blood? He checks the system. The medicine tab lets him craft blood for transfusions. Shiro can't keep her waiting. He'll serve 50 ml as an appetizer, then cook the blood into a dish. He peeked in, apologizing for the wait. Sierra sat back, watching him calmly. Shiro served the meal and told her to sit. The girl flew up, landing right in her chair. Let's begin, the boy says, setting the glass down as Sierra's eyes widen in disbelief. She peered into the glass as Shiro apologized for the surprise, noting it's her favorite, Group B. She asks if it's his blood. He reveals he conjured it using creation magic. The girl sniffs the glass. Shiro confirms it's real blood and poison-free, totally safe. She drinks, finally relieved. She blushes, calling it delightful. Shiro jokes he caught the rare RH factor for her, making Sierra laugh. That was ages ago, she says, taking a sip. She downed every drop, licking the walls clean. Shiro's stunned. Her sudden lewdness is a total 180 from her usual self. She turns to face him. Sierra held out her glass for a refill. He apologized. Another batch takes 40 minutes. Sierra understood. She says the long wait is normal. Her bottomless appetite demands it. Cairo notices her change and offers another cup after she eats. She stretches and agrees. Blood instantly revived her. Sierra hyped the meal, then suddenly remembered something and pointed to her open suitcase. She tells him to open it and find a blue bag. Shiro spots it instantly. It's the size of a rice bag. He unties the rope, pops it open, and gasps at the pile of coins. Sierra's staying for a month and offers the boy unlimited cash, wondering if the girl is loaded. Blood sausage and pickled paprika sat on the table. Shiro quotes 5,000 lemons for a night and meals, but the girl cuts him off, telling him to charge whatever he wants. He takes 150,000 lemons now, settling the rest later. She tells him to do whatever he wants. She loved the food. Shiro thanks her, noting he cooked it by hand without magic. Sierra asks for some booze to go with the meal. Confused, the hero eyes the girl, wondering if her age will land him in jail. Shiro warns Sierra that kids shouldn't drink, leaving her stunned. She asks which kids he means. She laughed, wondering if she was even a teenager. Sierra brags she's older, 42 years old, the prime age for a vampire. Shiro's shocked. She asks if she's older, mocking his 50-year-old vampire looks while he thought her kind stayed young. She stared at the vampire on the stool, doubting she was 42. She looked like a total teen. He tells her since she's an adult, she can drink, offering wine, beer, sake, and rum. She yells, asking what sake is. She's never even heard of it. Shiro explains it's a sugar-free rice drink from his homeland, and an intrigued Sierra tells him to bring it out. He told Goku to grab a jar of sake from the cellar. The Gallum nodded. Sierra watched the creature leave. She calls Shiro's partner a lackey, but the boy rejects the name. Goku isn't a servant, he's a Gallum he created. He asks what lackey means, so Sierra explains the title's role in vampire society. The girls trade blood for power, forcing the elite into servitude. Rain can already see it. Sierra says a bite is required. Shiro gasps, imagining himself being bitten. She can't bite, meaning no lackeys. Realizing her weakness, he grills her for answers. She agreed, snapping that she didn't have a single footman. Silence filled the room. Sierra was reeling from her secret. Shiro was clueless, and then Goku the Golem burst in with a bottle. Shiro grabs the bottle, shouting they need sake to perk up. Don't let those glasses rest. Sierra tries sake. A drop rolls down her lip as she praises the new taste. Shiro chuckles, glad she's a fan. Chewing, she says the drink pairs perfectly with blood sausage, then wonders, what happens if you mix sake with blood? Shiro hesitates but points out the blood still at the bottom of the glass. He questions mixing blood and sake, but she insists he just pour. The glass fills up. The girl licks her lips, calling it good, while Shiro watches, weirded out. Sierra sips the drink and confirms it's safe, while the boy names this vampire cocktail Bloody Sierra. As he refills his sake, she declares Shiro her new lackey. He sits and rejects the footman role, but vows to serve her every whim at the hotel, fearing she'll turn him if he fails. Sierra smirks, asking if he's for real about granting her wishes. She stands, radiating a deadly aura. Shiro asks what she's planning. He shook with fear, wondering if refusing the footman job had pushed her over the edge. She drops her head onto his lap, and Shiro throws his hands up in confusion. Sierra holds him to his promise, demanding to spend the day resting on his lap. She says girls deal with this several times a year. She touches his chin, remembering she's 42. Sierra demands the little sister treatment today. Little sisters weren't Shiro's specialty, but he wasn't complaining. He promised to fulfill her fantasy. Shiro's grin made her eyes widen. Cirrus raised her hands and smiled, stunned that her long journey finally led to this unbelievable paradise. She grabs the bottle, stands, and invites him to join. Shiro agrees, but only for a few drinks. Yaster asks if she's really traveled that much. Sierra confirms she's been traveling for 7 years. Knowing nothing about this world, the hero asks for her stories. She questions his ignorance, so he reveals the truth. He was summoned here from another world. She stared in shock, jaw wide open. Shiro caught that look again, but was used to it. The hero told the girls the truth. No one believed him, but it was true. Sierra chuckled, scratching her nose. He jokes that pretty girls shouldn't pick their noses, then asks her for some wild travel stories. She pouts, asking his take on her rare creature encounter in the eastern land of Holland. Sierra tries to rattle him, claiming she's faced a werewolf, whether he trusts her or not. Shira's shocked her werewolf story didn't scare him. He's completely unfazed and just asks if that's all she's got. Frustrated, she screams, why isn't Shiro scared of the werewolf? He just grins like an idiot, speechless. A vampire told him about the werewolf, so he asks if she's a rare monster too. Sierra screamed at his weird reaction, then teased another story to test him. She starts her story in a small southern island county. 2 empty bottle sacks littered the floor. Sierra tips the bottle, but it's bone dry. Slurring her words, she finally realizes why Janice targeted the MC. Shiro's annoyed she just watched instead of helping, but she admits she didn't realize the boat was in trouble. She admitted she was spying, hiccuping and stuttering through her words until he shouted, demanding to know if she was serious. He asks where she's hiding. She reveals she used her own color magic to blend into the sky. Shiro thinks dirty desires fuel magic. Sierra laughs. Tied to the mast, the boy begs for help, but the girl just watches, convinced he likes it. He screams for her to stop. She laughs, admitting she overheard them and decided to help, so don't be mad. She downs her drink, noting Shiro's surprisingly calm after everything he's endured. The hero blames his logic on being from another world, but Sierra tells him to be ashamed of that excuse. The girl tells the golem Goku to fetch another bottle of sake. Sierra spoke again, but Goku didn't budge. Shiro ignored her orders, demanding the golem fetch more sake. Watching Goku walk away, she wishes she had her own lackey. Sierra flails on the floor, wishing he was there to play siblings and read her bedtime stories. Shiro reminds her she's an adult, but she screams for pampering, demanding her big brother spoil her. He calmly reminds her she's older, but she snaps, screaming that she's still the little sister. She calms down, explaining vampires live 300 years and asking if that makes her 18 in human years. He realized she looked like a human teen, maybe 18, with skin just as smooth. Sierra rested her head on the bench. She curls at his feet, beaming that her big brother, Shiro, will spoil her, leaving him completely speechless. Sierra calls the guy Big Brother and asks for island attractions, finding her own question hilarious. He's not sure it's a tourist spot, but the island has a dungeon. She snorts in pleasure, repeating dungeon as her eyes roll back. She asked if she was in, but she refused. Hunting monsters is stupid, and she's already loaded. He's loving the free cash, while she's got zero trouble with money or men. Vampires don't marry, giving them total romantic freedom. Shiro says she'd get bored of the same man for 300 years. Sierra says vampire births are rare, most never have kids. The boy grins, shocked. She's fishing for sympathy, but Shiro reminds her they just met. Her logic makes zero sense. Looking away, she tells him not to worry. Vampire law forbids intimacy with anyone but turned humans, and she won't force him to change. Sierra's never been with a human, and Shiro's never dealt with a vampire. Shiro asks if humans and vampires get along. She says they coexist and work together. When he asks about blood, she reveals they just buy it from humans. Sierra explains they harvest blood from lovers and human-lived lackeys, though she's never tried it. Shiro finds the info useful. Relieved humans and vampires aren't enemies. He fears she'll clash with the Empire's adventurers arriving soon. She tells him not to worry, they're easy to crush, but she won't waste time arguing. Shiro's glad she's talking, but the girl bares her teeth. It depends on their manners. He stroked her head, asking if she was a good girl who played nice to prevent any future trouble. She blissfully agreed to get along, instantly succumbing to Shiro's influence. 4 sake bottles already sat drained on the table. Half asleep, Sierra calls him Big Brother and asks for another drink. 4 bottles down and she's still calling him Big Brother. He sighs, she's actually 17 years older. He scoops her up, realizing she's light as air. Sierra's out cold and snoring. Shira notes she looks like a totally innocent girl. He carried her to the hotel room, the golem lugging her suitcase, and laid her on the bed. Watching her sleep, he realized she'd been lonely so long she got overexcited and drank way too much. The system demands a liter of blood, so he splits it into 3 frozen portions. One last look at the sleeping girl. He was satisfied. He finally got the conversations he'd always dreamed of. Sierra was easy to talk to. Maybe it was her age, or the fact they looked identical. In bed, he finally admitted his own secret desire. Shiro imagined being the little brother, with his sister babysitting him. Little sisters are cool, but he's still strictly team big sis. Sierra dreams of her brother, while the hero senses a bond, even if they're on different wavelengths. Before drifting off, he realized their weird bond was actually pretty funny. Sierra sits on the bench, smiling as she waits for Shiro. He enters, shocked to see her. She beams a good morning, totally energized and happy. Shiro's rattled by the vampire's weird morning greeting. Sierra stares, waiting for an answer. He asks if the sun hurts her like back home, but she laughs. In this world, vampires and the sun are best friends. 300 years ago, a genius vampire invented a dark magic barrier that shields their skin, making the sun harmless. Old-school vampires call daylight a disgrace, but Sierra just mocks them. Shiro notes an interesting vampire generation gap and asks if she's using light magic. She said no, she could use the magic, but she had a better way to survive the sun. She held up her hand, revealing a mysterious bracelet. The item autocasts light magic. Artifacts are trending, and she writes back, it's super convenient. Sierra says the artifact lets vampires tan, but she doesn't care, leaving Shira devastated. It's unfair, he'd love to see a tanned vampire girl, and starts picturing the look. Jaru vampires are rare, but they aren't Shiro's type. He daydreams about dark-skinned elves until the girl snaps him back, making him shout and ask what she wants. Sierra wants a bath. He offers hot water, but she can magic heat it herself. She just needs a basin. She reaches the bathhouse, and he hands her a basin to heat the water. She emerged from the forest naked and thanked him. Embarrassed, he turned away, convinced he'd just imagined seeing something forbidden. Surprised, she tilts her head and asks why he's turning away. Sierra circles him, demanding answers, but the boy shrugs it off. He hands her the basin and says the rest is on her. She chuckles, asking if he's embarrassed. Sierra chuckles at his confusion, calling him brother and asking for help washing her hair. He scowled, asking if she was back to playing family games. She smirks, enjoying the show, and tells him not to be rude. The basin boiled, spewing thick steam. Shira offered to just douse the girl. She nodded, asking for nothing more. He starts by rinsing her hair, asking if it's okay. She nods and shuts her eyes. She rinses with hot water and scrubs. He asks if she's finished. She nods, and he applies the product, praising her beautiful hair. Zero pours soap on Sierra's hands, explaining it's shampoo and telling her to lather her hair. Sierra sniffs her custom rose shampoo, noting they also have berry and tropical options. Graham loved berry scents, while Lane preferred lavender. Shira warns her the shampoo stings, and Sierra says she's got it. He warns her and pours the water. The slimes clearly love the rose scent, happily basking in the shampoo foam. Sierra finishes washing up, and Shiro calls her a sparkling young lady. She smiles and thanks him for the help. Shiro grabs a towel and offers to dry her hair. She hesitates, but he tells her not to be shy. The girl lunges into his arms, shouting, "Brother." He spun her around with a grin. Wiping his brow, he promised not to damage her hair. She claims she's ticklish, but a sudden sensation makes her eyes narrow in suspicion. She flings the towel aside and glares at the forest. Shiro's stunned, clueless about her sudden shift. He turns to ask, but she calls his name, dead serious. Sierra sensed a presence. Confused, he asks where she felt him. She says he's almost there. Shiro feared they were pirates like Janice, but stayed calm knowing Sierra and the Six Wonders had his back. Peering from the tree, they spot a mysterious shadow closing in on the path. Shiro recognizes the man and tells Sierra to look. He shouts Louise's name, and she beams. It's been way too long. Sierra asks who she is. He says she's Louise, a dragon rider from the Land Management Institute. Louise stared at the building in awe. It was even better than the rumors, but the dragon rider just asked if it was a bathroom. She remembered his dream of building a stone bath for Milano, Lena, and Louise, the goal that started his journey, though it felt stupid now. Louise asks Shiro what happened. It deep been years. Nostalgia hit him hard, and Louise understood. Shiro asks if she's alone. She happily says yes. Louis names her the new liaison, leaving Lena fuming with jealousy. She's delayed after getting lost and spending the night on a reef. She reached the island at dawn as the clouds cleared, and Shiro knew exactly why she was so early. He asks if she's eaten. She says no, admitting she's been craving his cooking since her flight to the island. He grabs her hand, promising to cook her breakfast. She's left totally flustered. Sierra watched them, uneasy. They met her gaze, but her mind was already racing. Sierra snaps, demanding breakfast. She hates sharing Shiro's attention. He agrees to cook for her, but he has one request. He whispered, "Blood's ready in 7 minutes. Portion and freeze it." Sierra exhaled, proudly vowing to follow his lead. Plates cleared, cutlery down. Breakfast was a total win. Louise loves the meal, and Cyro's happy to help. As the gallum clears the table, the girl cuts to the chase. Shiro sits, ready to listen. She drops the papers. Mrs. Lott Graham's requested proof of the protagonist's identity. He thanked Graham, wondering if the girl did everything possible to secure him the Empire's protection. Louise points to the next document, a thank you letter for his help exploring the dungeon. She asks if he can read it. He takes it, reassuring her, realizing the flounder gave him this knowledge. Shira asks what middle-class subject means, leaving Louise struggling for an explanation. She explains the 4-tier class system, lower to noble, status is everything, middle class grants checkpoint access and job freedom. Shiro asks if his theory only targets women, leaving Louis speechless. She looked down, admitting Shiro was basically right. He wanted to fight for Japanese equality, but Graham's heroism won't change this world. He's ready to endure. Asked about Graham, Yas Louise gasps and confirms she was rewarded for finding a lost sword in the last dungeon. Shiro asks if it's true, knowing she needs the sword. Louis says Graham's a favorite with the bosses and a promotion is coming. He smiled, grateful for her help. He knew she'd reach the top, but wondered if they'd ever meet again. Louise says the Empire handed dungeon control to the guild. Shiro chuckles, it really happened. The guild's ships already sailed and arrived this week. Shara screams in shock, how are they so fast? Louise says the barracks foundation is set, but the guild must be finished before the adventurers arrive, the same spot Shiro used Yuo's help. She checks her notes, 15 staff and 30 carpenters are arriving, and Shiro knows the island's about to get packed. Louise says more traders are incoming. Food ships, arms dealers, and magic stone buyers. The massive guest list leaves Shira terrified. She says the guildmaster is a top-tier legend who ensures safety, so Shiro asks what makes her so special. Louise IDs her as Elsa Birkin, a retired legend still ranked world's strongest in fights under a minute. A guy asks if Louise knows the woman. She confirms, calling her energetic and imposing. Her goals were insane for her age. Writing, she tried to picture the woman. Louise reveals Elsa's now guildmaster and governor with total authority. Shiro asks if she's capable, and Louise guarantees she's perfect for the job. Shiro's playing it by ear. If things go south, he'll ditch the island and recover his lost sim. He's prepping for the worst. Louise was acting weird, so the guy asked what was wrong. She changes and heads out, apologizing for taking his clothes. Exhausted from the reef, she can't sleep. Shiro offers to wash her clothes while she rests, and she gratefully agrees. Shiro finds Sierra waiting, and she notes his politeness toward Louise. He says they've known each other forever and asks if she's cute. Sierra laughs, shocked he's into kids. She steps aside, tells the girl to stay calm, and demands the laundry for him to wash. The girl playfully asks if he's really sure. The Gallum hoisted a laundry basket overhead. Shira knew Goku's team would do the washing, not him. He wished his subordinates luck as they headed out. Snakes splash water into the grass. Shiro notes Wiggles is watering the beds, and it's a huge help. He's stocked up on onions and leeks, but with more people coming, he needs to expand the field. He wonders what to make with the leeks. Forget pickles, tartar sauce is the play, and now he's locked in. Louis eats anything, but Sierra can't stomach meat. He wonders why cooking makes him normal and notes their wildly different fashion tastes. He finally shouts his choice, fried shrimp with tartar sauce, and orders his golems to catch the shrimp. Fully geared, Louise mounts her dragon, thanks Shiro for the lunch, and tells him to stay safe before taking off. He yells for the flying girl not to get lost, and she promises to try. Shiro preps for the guild, building golems and remodeling the guest house while she watches him get serious. The girl offers to help. He's hyped and asks her to design his place since he has zero style. She agrees. Days pass as they overhaul the hotel. Shiro gasped at the room's modest perfection, a level of class he could never match. Sierra's proud. The boy finds character in her simple, calm design and is genuinely impressed. Shiro asks if her talent comes from a noble family, and the girl tenses up. She pursed her lips and said that wasn't it. Her reaction confirmed her noble roots, but she's clearly avoiding the topic. Shiro checks the system window. After all that work, he's leveled up again. Shiro's MP recovery speed just spiked with a new bonus, and brewing blood for Sierra leveled up his medicine production. He remembered another new product appeared. Shiro crafts a level 1 hedgehog golem, a fragile wooden weapon with zero defense, but insane speed and sharp iron needles. Janus trashed golems 1 and 2. Shiro's repair skill failed, so he's cranking up production for replacements. He tells Sierra the new golem is Harry, a hedgehog-porcupine hybrid built for mid-range combat. Harry's range clocked in at a massive 50 meters. Shiro asked the girl for an honest review of his new golem. She chuckles, claiming she'll dodge his needles and stomp him flat. Shira knew she was strong but questioned if her skills worked against monsters. He told him to reflect, since his size already handled normal thugs. She says pairing Harry with a golem dog will give him way more opportunities. He asks her to train Miracle and Harry for the military, but she just sighs in disbelief. Shiro offers to cook or serve her anything to pay his debt. She snaps back, asking if he thinks she's obsessed with booze. He couldn't sway her. Lost in thought, he realized she wasn't just some materialist. Desperate to get his way, Shiro asks her to play siblings again. She asked for specifics. Shiro smirked. She'd fallen for the bait. He offers her a shoulder ride to the cave, and she asks if he's for real. He'd hand-feed and spoil her, but Sierra demanded to know what else he could offer. He promised to lie beside her and tell stories of his homeland as she slept. She considered it, ready to answer. She shouts they have to try, vowing to soften the golems for her brother. She hopped on his shoulders cheering, so Shiro thanked her by promising her favorite amarisu for lunch. Thinking she's turning 43, he pities the lonely old woman and decides to be extra nice. Shiro rounds up every golem on the island and takes command. He points to Sierra, their new instructor. Obey her. She hovers in the air with a menacing glare. She orders Miracle 1 forward, and the mechanical dog obeys. Shiro's glad the golems obeyed and asks if it's enough. The girl agrees. Now it's all down to their learning speed. Sierra tests their reaction speed. Shiro knows they'll learn through trial and error, so he prepares to spam repairs to keep them from breaking. New golems sink and learn through touch, getting stronger until the last one falls. Shiro hits 5 sims and forces them to pilot Janice's ship, finally letting them sail between the islands. He plans to send the repaired Cuckoo to find another island for an emergency evacuation shelter. Shiro's prepping for the worst. Danger lurks around every corner, so he can't afford to drop his guard. 2 days into training, Sierra and the hero spot ships approaching the island. The girl asks if these are guild ships. Shira confirms they've finally reached the island. The girl asks if the giant woman directing the ship is Elsa. A woman dives off the ship, hurtling toward the shore as a stunned Shirin screams in disbelief. He screams in shock. Is she running on water? That's terrifying. Sierra calls her movement insane, stepping up before her other foot even lands. Shaking, Shira grabs her hand, claiming only a baseless could do that. She explodes off the water with a massive splash and somersaults midair. She hits the shore, flashing a smile at the welcoming crowd. She looms over Sierra and Shiro, asking if he's the Shiro Senata she's heard about. She introduces herself as Elsa Birkin, the new head of the local guild branch. Shiro's horrified by her look, but stays calm as always. She's 70, no way. This grandma looks 50 and is bursting with energy. Shiro steadies himself and reaches out. It's true, I'm Shiro Senara, nice to meet you. She shook his hand, greeted him, and asked for an immediate island tour. He realized she'd skipped the tea and dive straight into work. He'll show her the research camp on the way to the dungeon. She watches him, thoughtful. She laughs, arms crossed, amazed. Shiro, that kind of man. In the carriage, the boy asks to wait, but Elsa refuses. The others are an hour out, and she wants island info now. She'd memorized the map, but needed to see the terrain for herself. The wows marched in formation, arms waving. Elsa asks why these construction golems are just wandering. Shiro clarifies their evow and they're paving a path. Elsa nodded, gasping as he realized the truth. He forced people to walk the road to keep it level, realizing she'd already seen through his plan. Shiro warns the road's a wreck since the researchers left, but Elsa knows the merchants will fix it soon. She smirked, realizing her guild was now his business rival. Shira smirked, noting he only had 6 rooms and 0 interest in business. She sighs, confirming his 5,000 a night rate. It's fair, but no rookie adventurer can afford it. Shiro checks the competition's prices. The woman laughs, charging 500 lemons for a room, no food included. Shiro planned the guild for the masses and his inn for elites, laughing because his place was far from high class. They arrive and the guy points out his hotel. Elsa gasps at the room, enjoys the bath, and joyfully drinks at Shiro's restaurant. She laughed, praising the rooms, baths, and drinks. Shiro thanked her, noting how rare such luxury was for a remote island. Frowning, she asked if he'd feed her. Shiro's clueless, asking what kind of feeding she's talking about. She read his reaction and nodded. She understood everything. Shiro looked away, realizing she was asking for special services. He won't date someone he doesn't like. Elsa facepalms, vowing to keep any other hungry girls in line. Sierra frowned from the wall. Elsa shrugged it off. His bodyguard was solid, so there was nothing to worry about. Sierra snaps, no one touches Shiro. She's protecting him no matter what. She'd incinerate anyone if necessary, but Elsa facepalms, reminding her that hostile fights are strictly banned. Sierra grinned, fire dancing in her palm. Give me a reason, she dared. She's not to be messed with, don't take the risk. Elsa sighed in defeat. Things were spiraling out of control, and it was dragging her down. She warns against hot tempers, pushing for a more elegant fix. Shiro knows she wants his approval, but he refuses to give in. He confirmed it, ordering them to follow Master Elsa's lead. The woman exhaled, relieved that everything was back on track. Sierra threw a tantrum, demanding to know if Shiro sided with the guildmaster before dragging Miracle away for some elegant golem training. Iwao and Zyro hit the docks in unison, unloading cargo and hauling boxes across the bridge to shore. The women thank Shiro for the handy golems. He directs Iwawa's cargo, recalling how work began right after Elsa's island inspection. He checks his pay, demanding only magic stones. He's got more golems now and needs every stone he can get. A sweaty, exhausted woman confronts Shiro Sanada. He confirms his identity, clutching the payment bag tight. Apologizing for the delay, Mrs. Damas smiles and reveals she's here on business. She's a merchant trading weapons, food, and tools, plus running taverns. Shira hangs on every word. Recalling the merchant ship, he flashed a professional smile and thanked her for the courtesy. He offers to answer anything, but she stays silent, deep in thought. She thanked him, introduced her staff, and barked orders for them to greet the island's owner. Shiro stood stunned. What did this mean? He never saw this coming. 5 men in ragged clothes stood before him. Some smiled, others were blank, but all looked exhausted. Shiro recalled his first encounter with the locals, stunned to see men ranging from 20 to 40 years old. She wondered about the barcode-haired man's job as his sunken eyes stared him down. Nistama apologizes for their rough looks, but they're the only ones merchants can hire in these remote regions. Barcode-haired guy nods a greeting. Shiro returns it and realizes he looks exactly like General Affairs Chief Yashida. The boy asks why they look so sick. The old man says they're ready for the next world. Shiro shouted, asking if they were really shipped here in the livestock hold. He whispers that men are bad luck on ships, so they're being hauled like animals to dodge the curse. Horrified, Shiro grabbed a life potion. It was weak, but he told all 5 men to drink it to dull the pain. Shiro says men stick together. The 5 stare in tearful gratitude as the old man takes the drink, weakly calling Shiro boss. He remembered Yashido, the general affairs chief, was a drinker too. Lady Dama ordered the men back to their seats after talking to Shiro, and they slunk away in shame.